There was laughter among the Thai soldiers, each of them not taking it seriously. Not to mention that zombies are impossible, even if they did appear, in the face of humanity's modern weapons, they're just fish waiting to be harvested. This isn't a movie. Human firearms are far from as weak as they're shown in films. Just as this group of Thai soldiers was still amused, a tall dark figure burst out from the Medical Research Institute, and it was a mutant ghost. Its nose twitched slightly, as if searching for a scent in the air, and it looked towards the Thai soldiers, its scarlet eyes full of bloodlust. Landing on all fours, it lunged toward them like a wild beast. What is that noise? A front-row Thai soldier looked towards the sound, and under the light of the street lamp, he first saw a pair of red eyes, then the monstrous body over 3 meters tall, crossing hundreds of meters in a short time, appearing in front of him. With its mouth open, before this Thai soldier could even scream, he saw nothing but darkness. Crack! The mutant ghost bit off the head of this Thai soldier, rushed into the crowd of soldiers, its claws gleaming with cold light. Many Thai soldiers were slashed by its claws, some clutched their severed arms or legs and screamed. Some had their heads sliced off, others were cut in half. Within seconds 7 or 8 soldiers met a tragic death. Oh my God! What kind of monster is this? Quick, fire. Aim for its head, its weak point is the brain. Ah, my hand. My hand is broken. Someone, please save me. Screams, shouts, and wails resounded one after another. In panic, the Thai soldiers raised their rifles and pulled the trigger towards the mutant ghost. Bullets flew out of the barrels, several hitting their own, blowing up their comrades' heads, but they had no time to deal with it. Their only thought now was to take down the mutant ghost. The mutant ghost was hit by multiple bullets. Although its speed couldn't outrun the bullets, it had a high resistance to ordinary rifle bullets, and the wounded parts of its body began healing at high speed, making its life force even stronger, enduring the bullet shots, continuing its frenzied slaughter. Why won't it die? Shoot the head. You need to aim for the head with zombies. I've been shooting its head from the start, and it's still not dead. This isn't any kind of zombie. What kind of zombie looks like this? This is an immortal monster. The on-site Thai soldiers were shooting and shouting, terrified by the mutant ghost, treating it like a zombie, frantically shooting at the ghost's head. Yet they couldn't kill it. Instead, they riled up the ghost even more. A Thai soldier had just set up a heavy machine gun when he saw the ghost pouncing towards him, immediately pulling the trigger in fright. 12.7mm bullets swept across, severing the ghost's left arm, punching several holes through its body, and the ghost was battered by the huge impact into retreating step by step. However, because the range was too close, the blood from the ghost's wounds splattered onto the soldier operating the machine gun. This blood was like concentrated sulfuric acid, directly corroding his skin and flesh, exposing his stark white bones, making him roll on the ground in pain. As the heavy machine gun barrage ceased, the dying ghost once again charged into the crowd, struggling for over 10 seconds. After killing more than 20 soldiers, the ghost finally absorbed a ton of bullets in the heavy rain of fire, ending up perforated like a beehive, its movements slowing until it fell to the ground, lifeless. The terrified Thai soldiers continued to fire at the ghost's body, emptying their magazines. Another Thai soldier carried a rocket launcher and fired a few rockets at the corpse, blasting it to pieces, preventing it from reviving. Confirming the ghost was utterly dead, the surviving Thai soldiers panted heavily, with the company commander urgently reporting the situation to superiors, requesting reinforcements. At this moment, a sudden gunshot caused the jumpy Thai soldiers to raise their weapons, and they saw a soldier shoot a wounded comrade with a handgun. The comrade was only lightly injured, clearly treatable, yet died at the hands of his own. What are you doing? The Thai soldiers were stunned by this scene. He just reached out to grab me. I suspect he's infected with the zombie virus. If he caught me, I'd turn into a zombie too. This soldier was evidently a lover of apocalypse movies, looking at his comrades' puzzled expressions, speaking righteously. But it seemed like he was just trying to ask you for a hand up. Who can guarantee they aren't infected? What we need to do now is keep an eye on these injured people, and prevent them from turning into zombies. Yes, right, watch those injured guys immediately. Don't get close to them. If there's an issue, shoot immediately. The on-site Thai soldiers suddenly realized, ignoring the injured comrades' cries for help on the ground, nervously watching them, ready to shoot if any sign of zombification appeared. Little did they know, the demon blood gene potion does not have infectious properties. This isn't a movie zombie virus. These Thai soldiers were too influenced by movies, resulting in many soldiers who could have survived, dying from untreated blood loss. Roar. As time dragged on, more mutant ghosts emerged from the Medical Research Institute, attracted by the strong scent of blood. This time several appeared. Seeing this time appearing were 4 ghosts. The nervous Thai soldiers on the street crumbled. Ignoring their comrades still awaiting treatment on the ground, they turned to flee. Mutant ghosts certainly won't let go of the prey in their sights. They quickly rush in, starting a massacre, and screams envelop the street. More and more mutant ghosts instinctively follow the scent, rushing out of the building and heading in all directions to hunt their prey. The entire Haifa city is now alert, with air raid sirens resounding throughout, and large numbers of stationed Thai troops begin to enter the city. An armored squad drives down the street with a 60-ton MEVA tank leading the way, followed closely by 2 infantry fighting vehicles. Normally, infantry accompanies them, but out of sheer terror, the Thai infantry who should have disembarked remain huddled inside the infantry fighting vehicles. Monster sighted. Position. Infrared thermal imaging discovers the silhouettes of the mutant ghosts, and the radio is filled with tense shouting. Bang, bang, bang. In the blink of an eye, the tank's mounted machine gun sweeps out a line of fire. The machine gun on the infantry fighting vehicle also lets out a muffled roar, as machine gun bullets, mixed with blue tracers, streak through the night. 7 or 8 just emerging mutant ghosts are covered in the rain of bullets. Several of them in the front of the barrage, soon shattered to pieces. The physical body strength of the mutant ghosts can only withstand shots from small-caliber firearms. Bullets from regular rifles can injure them, but due to their sufficiently strong life force, only continuous hits can kill them. However, it's a different story with high-powered heavy machine guns, let alone a machine gun which far exceeds the defensive limit of the mutant ghosts, as these mutant ghosts are just failures in any case. On the street, some ghosts charge near the armored convoy, but their previously invincible claws are useless against the armor of these vehicles, which is not the flesh and blood of humans. Accompanied by the firing of the tank cannon, 2 high-explosive bombs are deployed, and several mutant ghosts trying to escape are shattered in violent explosions. These monsters are afraid of heavy firepower. This good news is quickly spread, inspiring the morale of the Thai troops. However, to prevent the situation from escalating, Thai country dispatched more troops and ordered the closure of every exit in Haifa city. They fear the unknown monsters might have infectious properties, like a zombie virus in movies. While the Haifa city army and the ghosts are slaughtering each other on a nearby high-rise, Situang stands at the edge of the rooftop, watching the carnage between the Thai soldiers and the ghosts below, both suffering heavy casualties. Is the recording finished? Finished. Send it back to headquarters. We have completed President Su's mission. Saying this, several genetic warriors smile. Let's go, we should leave too. Before Thai seals the city. Seeing the battle below conclude, Situang turns around and walks a few steps, only to see a few ghosts covered in blood, with tusks entwined with flesh, appearing in sight, staring at them with crimson eyes, clearly considering them as prey. Mindless beasts. Get lost. Situang snorts coldly. He alone is a second-generation holy blood gene warrior. These mutant ghosts sense the aura from Situang, a stronger kindred spirit. Speaking of which, mutant ghosts and holy blood gene warriors alike fuse with the diluted holy blood from Su Jie's body, essentially being kindred. However, mutant ghosts fail in their fusion, with their genes collapsing and rewriting, while holy blood gene warriors successfully fuse with more holy blood. So, for the mutant ghosts, holy blood gene warriors are not humans but stronger kindred. A few mutant ghosts, frightened by Situang, flee with their tails between their legs, like wolves facing a tiger, despite being terrifying creatures to the Thai infantry. Only one mutant ghost still eyes the few gene warriors behind Situong, as they are first-generation gene warriors lacking the aura of holy blood. However, in the next second, Situong walks by, the flesh at his tailbone tears open, and a white bony tail whip whistles out, instantly piercing the head of the particularly foolish mutant ghost. A skull impervious to rifle shots yet unable to resist the sharpness of his bony tail whip. Compared to true genetic warriors, these mutant ghosts are utterly inferior. Let's move. Haifa City will be particularly lively tonight, so we won't get involved. Situong discards the corpse of the mutant ghost, glancing at the city echoing with gunfire, before turning and leading 5 genetic warriors to leap between buildings, disappearing into the dark night. The slaughter doesn't cease with the departure of the orchestrators like Situong. Numerous mutant ghosts leaving the National Medical Research Institute, guided by their hunting instinct, rampage through this large city in Yutai country, bringing death and fear to this ancient city. Shock! Zombie crisis erupts in Haifa City, Yutai country, putting the city in a state of emergency, with over 10,000 casualties reported. Yutai National Medical Research Institute is studying the zombie virus, harming both others and themselves, a crime that cannot be forgiven. Countries worldwide have taken emergency measures to ban entry of Yutai country people. The World Health Organization has issued a statement, warning that a new type of virus has broken out in Yutai country, biothreat level 4, and no effective vaccine or treatment methods have been found yet. Before dawn, the incident in Haifa City, Yutai country had already circulated globally, shocking the world. A large number of related videos appeared online. Although media and platforms controlled by Yutai tried to cover it up, the incident was too large to be controlled. As Yutai country was already the global focus, this incident became a public admission of guilt to the world. The Yutai country government promptly issued a statement explaining that what appeared in Haifa City were not zombies, nor had they conducted biochemical research. However, the incident took place at the Haifa National Medical Research Institute, making Yutai country's explanation weak and ineffective, as few believed their denial of biochemical research. In response, Yutai country quickly deployed a large number of troops to clear out mutant ghosts within Haifa City. Haifa City. Due to heavy weaponry such as armored vehicles and helicopters joining the battle, mutant ghosts could not face human heat weapons directly. After many of their kind were killed, the surviving ghosts learned from experience. Despite having no brains, only animal instincts remaining, even beasts know to seek advantages and avoid harm. Mutant ghosts that survived left open areas and hid in tall buildings. Yutai troops hesitated, unable to bombard their own cities directly since many civilians had not evacuated. Yutai country could only dispatch troops to protect civilians evacuating Haifa City while exterminating the hiding mutant zombies. The only relief was that these mutant ghosts appeared to have no infection capability, easing the minds of Yutai leaders. In Nulan District, Haifa City, a squad of Yutai soldiers cautiously searched buildings floor by floor for signs of mutant ghosts. Blood. Passing a room, blood seeped through the door gap. The soldiers searching reported immediately, leading to troops assembling quickly, setting up machine gun firing lines, wielding rocket launchers, ensuring heavy firepower immediately if ghosts emerged, before boldly entering. Inside, the first sight was a still warm corpse, chest ripped open, internal organs devoured, a grisly death. Ugh! Some Yutai soldiers turned pale. Clear, no ghosts found. The tense Yutai soldiers examined and tracked drips of blood on the floor, reaching the balcony. Scanning around, they found no ghosts, suggesting the ghost had fled. Ag! Screams suddenly erupted from lower floors. A pale-skinned, 3-meter-tall ghost held a Yutai soldier in its mouth, climbing the building's exterior wall. The Yutai soldier bitten was still alive, swaying as the ghost climbed. Thump, thump, thump. A 20mm machine gun mounted on an armored vehicle in the district blasted, tearing through concrete and steel, forcing the ghost back indoors. Intense gunfire echoed as the ghost rampaged through narrow corridors, claws slashing like butcher knives. Several Yutai soldiers were instantly sliced apart. Fire! Shoot quickly! Where's the rocket launcher? Get over here and blast this damned mutant. Where's the machine gunner? Terrified shouts from soldiers mixed with ghost roars. Fierce combat ensued immediately. Though the Yutai soldiers carried a lot of heavy weaponry, the narrow corridors restricted their effectiveness. The ghost's strong life force let it rampage in complex building environments, enduring many rifle shots, causing over 20 soldier casualties before finally being killed. The floors were filled with human limbs and broken bodies. This mutant alien ghost had inflicted massive casualties on the Yutai soldiers. The surviving soldiers all showed fear in their eyes. The so-called zombies in movies were no match for the monster before them. Many of the Yutai soldiers even cursed it out loud, blaming their own government for its stupidity in researching such terrifying bioweapons. It wasn't just the research. They had also slipped up, contaminating their own city, and now soldiers like them had to pay with their lives to clean up the mess. Similar scenes were occurring incessantly within Haifa City. Though the alien ghosts were not weak in combat, their numbers were ultimately limited. After suffering significant casualties, the Yutai soldiers finally cleared all alien ghosts from the city by the evening of the second day. But before they could celebrate, new problems arose. Traces of alien ghosts were discovered one after another in other cities of Yutai country. Though their numbers weren't large, they caused great panic. The soldiers in Haifa City conducted an urgent investigation and finally understood how these alien ghosts had escaped. Soldiers discovered traces of alien ghost activity in the city's underground drainage system, which led outside Haifa City and even to the coast of the Mediterranean. Once the mutant alien ghosts escaped the city, they followed their primal hunting instincts, searching for densely populated areas, and cities were where human activities were most concentrated. Yutai country's territory wasn't large, scattered with cities of varying sizes. These escaped alien ghosts were like rats breaking into a rice jar, entering one city after another and starting their hunts. Ordinary police couldn't handle the alien ghosts, making Yutai country a headache and forcing them to keep deploying the military to clean them up. Yet, at that time, finally, there was a country that couldn't just watch anymore. August 2nd, 2030. Just the third day after the incident in Haifa City, Yutai country, a news conference was held at the headquarters of the South Alliance in Mande City, Chan country. Su Jie sat on stage with a microphone in front of him. Looking down at journalists from various countries around the world, he started to speak slowly. I presume everyone here is aware of the recent events in Haifa City, Yutai country. In fact, as early as half a month ago, we filed a complaint with the United Nations Security Council against Yutai country for conducting large-scale bioweapons research. However, at that time, no one agreed to the proposal, and so the issue was left unresolved. The current events in Haifa City prove our judgment was correct, which pains me greatly. If only our request had been granted, we wouldn't be facing today's disaster. Su Jie had a look of grief and indignation on his face, as if he truly felt for the human tragedy. Sitting next to Su Jie, Lu Yingying's shoulders moved a bit. She was holding back with great difficulty. If she weren't one of the masterminds involved, she might actually have believed Su Jie's nonsense. She felt herself inferior to Su Jie in terms of thick skin. Thinking this, Lu Yingying took out a document, and a large screen behind her presented a wealth of related evidence, which she displayed to the on-site media reporters. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our JECA Group's monitoring report on the Haifa City zombie crisis. Clearly, such a powerful mutant zombie is a result of human action, and the Haifa City National Medical Research Institute has been secretly engaged in virus and bacteria research, including the development of gene weapons targeting the Aber people. The zombie outbreak in Haifa City was caused by Yutai country's mishandling leading to a virus leak. Journalists' eyes gleamed at this. The zombie incident in Yutai country had already become widely known globally. Yet, because of the global influence of people of Yutai descent and the fact that things hadn't been fully investigated, JECA Group was the first to publicly place direct blame on Yutai country's official institutions for the zombie outbreak. Furthermore, what's even more serious is that the transmission method of this zombie virus remains unknown. Although the official Yutai country statement claims the zombies can't spread through blood, who knows if this is just a smokescreen to cover up the truth by Yutai country officials. We, at Jekka Group, refuse to believe a single word from a country engaged in large-scale bioweapon research, threatening human extinction. Therefore, to prevent world destruction and protect 8 billion humans from the virus threat, in my role as leader of the South Alliance, I officially deploy troops to eradicate all virus threats on Thai country's soil. At the same time, I declare war on Thai country, a nation that produces large-scale bioweapons, eliminating these human traitors. Upon these words, the entire audience burst into an uproar. Jekka Group's deployment of troops to Thai country under the guise of combating virus threats ensured this news would shock the world. President Su, the United Nations Security Council didn't approve your troop deployment proposal. You can't bypass the United Nations Security Council. A Western journalist angrily stood up, pointing out that Su Jie's deployment ignored the rules. Su Jie's expression remained indifferent, even slightly disdainful. With military operations, speed is of the essence. As an important force maintaining human continuity and safety, Jekka Group cannot bear to see the further spread of the zombie virus. Blame Thai country's own vile behavior which defies both logic and reason. From the inception of Jekka Group, the United Nations Security Council was never considered significant. The journalist questioning from the audience was furious, thinking, "Do you think you're the world's police? Even the beautiful country hasn't taken the lead. What business is it of yours, Jekka Group?" However, Su Jie was now standing on the moral high ground, having truly justified the action. Isn't starting a war going too far? Can't you eliminate the zombie virus by sending medical teams? Why deploy armies? Another journalist couldn't help but stand up. Many of their media consortiums had shares owned by people of Thai descent. Our Jekka Group has its own way of eliminating the virus. As a journalist from that country speaking for a human traitor, are you perhaps involved in the zombie virus experiments? Are you an accomplice of Thai country? Su Jie reversed the accusation, leaving the journalist's face pale, too afraid to add more, fearing repercussions. In any case, our Jekka Group cannot sit idly by while Thai country engages in zombie virus research, endangering all humanity. Effective immediately, we are deploying troops to eliminate the virus. Su Jie concluded decisively, announcing the end of the conference, and simultaneously, the massive military machine of Jekka Group began full deployment. August 3, 2030, 3:12 a.m. In the dead of night, in the southern part of Chan Country, Yang Province, Putua Airport was brightly lit. This airport is a 4F-class permanent military airport, once damaged by the Jekka Group during the war. Later, the Jekka Group repaired and expanded it. It is the largest military airport in Chan Country. A large number of fighter jets and air defense systems, as well as ammunition depots and fuel storage built with heavy reinforced concrete, are all semi-buried in the mountains and deep underground. At a time when the entire world was in an uproar over Su Jie's remarks, this Putua airport also responded to the great call of war from President Su and was making intense war preparations. On the towering giant open-air hangars, 8 colossal objects were already lined up neatly. These colossal objects looked smooth and round, like beetles lying on the ground. But beetles in the animal kingdom are only the size of a fingernail, appearing soft and cute. However, the beetles appearing at Putua Airport were 135 meters long, 29 meters high, with a load capacity of over 700 tons, capable of flying 36,000 kilometers non-stop in the air. Their massive size was like giant beasts as big as mountains, longer than a football field, equivalent to the height of nearly 10 stories, making them seem unlike any human creation. These are Jekka Group's largest Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers, the culmination of modern science, Tianyuan biology, and spiritual science. At this time, the cargo bays of all 8 Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers were open, and the ground crews were busy. They drove ammunition transport vehicles carrying missiles and bombs, with yellow thin lines on the front of the bodies to indicate they were live weapons. If they were training weapons for usual drills, the line would be blue. The loading vehicles tilted the trays, aligning the bomb hooks on the back of the bombs with the hooks on the side of the composite racks of the Luanyang Airspace bombers. As the spiral stabilizers on both sides of the racks adjusted, They ensured the stability of the bomb bodies. Accompanied by the continuous ascent of the loading vehicles, the bombs were finally loaded into the fuselage 7 meters above the ground. Due to the enormous size of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers, 18 ground crew teams were simultaneously responsible for loading the bombs, with tons of ammunition loaded into this colossal object. Just loading the bombs took a full 2 hours, with each Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber loaded with over 500 tons of ammunition, an extremely alarming amount. Subsequently came the long-awaited various troops, with heavy footsteps, as a Spider main battle mecha appeared in view. Standing at 12 meters high and weighing over 100 tons, the Spider main battle mecha seemed quite delicate in front of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber. The 8 long legs of the Spider main battle mecha stepped on board, entering the massive cabin of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, which was so vast it felt like standing in a stadium without the slightest feeling of crowdedness. Following closely were the genetic warriors from the Steel Camp, personally led by Miao Luan, the highest-ranking officer of the Steel Camp, carrying biological armor and various weapons, and boarding the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber. Apart from genetic warriors, there were super soldiers and numerous weapons and equipment. The airport was brightly lit, and soldiers, fully armed, boarded in an orderly manner. Everyone knew they were going on a mission 5,000 kilometers away, yet not a single person showed fear on their face. Those who boarded this first airstrike flight were the most elite in the JECA group, instilling fear only in their enemies. Depending on the mission requirements, the number of soldiers and the weaponry equipped on each Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber were different. The busy boarding and inspection work continued until dawn. As the first ray of dawn light shone on Putuo Airport, the 8 Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers were already battle-ready. 6 pilots sat in the cockpit, and when the signal came from the ground command tower, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers were immediately started, and the engines began to roar. Airspace clear, ready for takeoff. Commence cross-judgment action. Wishing everyone a safe journey. The ground crew removed their hats and waved their arms, watching the 8 Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers take off. Dozens of pairs of thin wings flapped, and the strong wind made them unsteady. Yet they couldn't bear to blink until the 8 Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers flew higher and higher, disappearing into the clouds on the horizon. August 3, 2030, 6:19 a.m., the first flying wing, with its bombing squadron, departed from Putuo Airport, heading northwest. After takeoff, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers rapidly accelerated and ascended, unaffected by their colossal size. The dozens of pairs of thin wings, each 100 meters long, flapped hundreds of times per second, providing immense thrust. 1 kilometer, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 50,000 meters. In a short amount of time, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber flew to an altitude of over 50,000 meters, entering the stratosphere where the air was stable with no vertical convection. The temperature increased with the altitude, which was a height that current fighter jets could hardly reach. The Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber was flying steadily at this terrifying height, whereas even the most advanced bombers had operational ceilings of only over 10,000 meters, not exceeding 20,000 meters, far below the exaggerated heights of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber. Confirm the aerial flight path. Activate anti-radar waves. Enter supersonic cruise. The exterior of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber shone with pinpoint bright spots, like small black holes absorbing radar waves, preventing reflection. Coupled with its extreme altitude and its top speed of Mach 2, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber became a high-altitude, high-speed stealth strategic bomber with perfect safety. Entering supersonic cruise, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber flew over seas of clouds and mountainous landscapes at a speed of 1,500 kilometers per hour. It flew over various countries whose airspace was completely unaware of its presence. Even if radars were on, they wouldn't be able to detect the course of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber. Yutai Country, Taewei City. This city was established in 1909. It is the capital of Yutai Country and serves as the financial, commercial trade, transportation, and cultural center. It hosts the largest university in Yutai Country, Taewei University, the oldest theater, U-Tai Theater, and the most famous orchestra, U-Tai Symphony Orchestra, the headquarters for U-Tai country's commercial institutions, banks, many political parties, trade unions, major newspapers, magazines, and publishers are mostly located here. This city owns more than half of the nation's factories, being the absolute core city of U-Tai country. In such an important city, naturally it is also the residence of U-Tai country elites. Due to the threat of genetic warriors and the zombie disturbances over the past few days, a lot of military forces have been arranged and deployed in the city, establishing a military command center with several troops stationed outside the city. At 10 in the morning, just like any other day in Taewei City, people went to work, played, and indulged in their usual hedonistic lifestyles. With enough soldiers protecting them, the citizens of Taewei City had no worries about zombies wandering in. But these citizens of Taewei City didn't know that sometimes the enemy doesn't always come from the ground, but might come from the sky. High in the sky, tens of kilometers above Taewei City, 8 Luanyang airspace strategic bombers that took off from Putuo Airport over 5,000 kilometers away had reached here. Supersonic cruising for several hours, something that those supersonic fighters can't do, let alone bombers, yet the Luanyang airspace strategic bomber achieved this miracle. Sir, the aerial bomber formation is complete. We have reached the first target location, Taewei City. We have detected hostile troops and military constructions. Please instruct. Inside the cabin, Miao Luan, who had closed his eyes for a rest, opened them upon hearing the inquiry from the flight squadron commander through his earpiece. He smiled. President Su once said that this small land of U-Tai country is too urbanized. We need to help them rectify it. Execute the bombing mission and level the enemies. Roger that. Operation begins. Let us. The belly of one Luanyang airspace strategic bomber opened, and the first guided bomb dropped toward the ground. This was a 5-ton guided bomb filled with tons of high explosives. The missile's tail fins deployed, allowing the guided bomb to glide through the air. Time seemed to stretch, or perhaps it was just a moment. This guided bomb landed in the President Mansion of Taewei City. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. The next instant, the explosion shattered the city's tension. Flames rose high, like a demon's malicious grin. Dust flew, debris soared. A terrifying explosion unleashed a massive shockwave, reducing the President Mansion to ruins. The officials working here, the station soldiers, all ascended with the explosion the moment the guided bomb dropped, their flesh turning to dust under the shockwave. Surrounding skyscrapers trembled with the explosion. All windows within a kilometer shattered. Shockwaves swept across, and humans and vehicles nearby were tossed like toys. Shrapnel and debris from the explosion rained down like a storm. This destructive strike claimed countless lives under the 5-ton guided bomb. Everyone nearby was dumbfounded, with those lucky enough to survive and passerby turning towards the explosion site. The entire Taewei City was disturbed by the explosion caused by this guided bomb. And in the higher skies, tons of bombs dropped from the 8 Luanyang airspace strategic bombers, the dense ammunition resembling a rain of bombs. Bang! 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 Flowers of destruction bloomed in the city. Smoke and flames from the explosions covered the city. Numerous bodies were dismembered in the blasts. Buildings collapsed with thunderous roars, bringing death and devastation to the city. Located in the Taewei City West City, the Black Mu 2nd Mechanized Infantry Regiment was originally an empty lot belonging to U-Tai country. Later, due to the threat of genetic warriors, the government of U-Tai country specially deployed this elite unit here to defend. Not far from here are the headquarters of the General Staff and the Military Action Command Committee. Although the military strength of U-Tai country is limited by its small land area, it has a regular army of 130,000 people, organized into 3 armored divisions, 2 headquarters, 3 regional headquarters, 4 mechanized infantry brigades, and 3 rocket artillery battalions. They possess thousands of main battle tanks and armored vehicles, over 1,000 various towed and self-propelled artillery pieces, and hundreds of combat aircraft. With a vast amount of funds at their disposal, U-Tai country doesn't lack money, plus their relationship with the beautiful country is evident, enabling their army to live quite comfortably with numerous advanced equipment purchased from the beautiful country. At the Black Mu 2nd Mechanized Infantry Regiment, besides the stationed Yutai soldiers, a reinforced battalion of soldiers from the beautiful country has recently been stationed here. They arrived here as mercenaries, originally part of a composite reinforced battalion subordinate to the 35th Infantry Division, with around 1,000 soldiers, having just arrived in Taewei City 3 days ago. What was that sound? Hawks had just finished his morning exercise. As a new recruit from the beautiful country, he looked up and glanced around, hearing a violent explosion from afar. It seems like the sound came from the east. Beside him, his training friend Will shrugged, arm around a Yutai soldier's shoulder, and jokingly asked, "Hey, buddy, is there a fireworks display today? Seems quite lively in the city." "Today isn't a holiday, and there's no." The Yutai soldier hadn't finished speaking when a piercing air raid siren began wailing madly, with the loudspeaker also broadcasting an urgent order from above. "All soldiers immediately take combat positions. We are under attack. I repeat." Hawks froze, listening to the piercing air raid siren beside his ear, instinctively looking at Will. "Will, what's going on?" Will didn't respond, instead staring blankly at the sky. Following Will's line of sight, Hawks also looked up, seeing black dots appearing in the sky, falling towards them. Airstrike! Hawks felt his limbs go cold, his lips trembling, terrified and clueless like a headless chicken. They had just arrived here 3 days ago, the camp barely set up, with no idea where to hide from the airstrike. Boom! Before Hawks could devise a plan, a dozen dark shadows fell into the camp. Those shadows were cluster bombs, exploding in midair before hitting the ground, dispersing hundreds of small bombs. In an instant, it seemed as if the sky was raining iron, with a vast spread of steel beads and shrapnel swept in all directions by the explosion's shockwave. In the face of such a weapon, frail human bodies were cut down like fields of wheat, blood and screams enveloping the entire camp. Hawks was quite lucky. He wasn't harmed by the explosion, but he was petrified. Having been in the army for just half a year, this was his first battle. Before his eyes, he witnessed fellow soldiers being shredded by sharp shrapnel, bodies torn apart, with the dying wails of countless comrades echoing in his ears. A moment ago, his friend Will, who was chatting with him, now had only half a head left, the other half sliced off by bomb shrapnel, falling to the ground. The smoke of death left Hawk's mind blank, standing alone amidst a crowd of hundreds. Boom! Another violent explosion erupted, making Hawks sluggishly turn his head. He saw 2 drilling bombs consecutively hitting the headquarters of the Yutai country's General Staff and Military Action Command Committee. The drilling bombs pierced through the building, then delved into the military bunker beneath, spewing a torrent of earth from underground. Amid the explosion, the building slowly collapsed, creating a massive crater 20 meters wide. The senior commanding officers who had taken refuge in the air raid bunker after the airstrike alert were permanently buried deep underground alongside those 2 drilling bombs. More bombs continued to fall. With thousands of soldiers stationed here, it was obviously a major target for the attackers. Heavy air bombs lodged in the military camp, creating terrifying craters. Around each crater were scattered human limbs and blood. Ah! Fake! God! In a breakdown, Hawks screamed and ran instinctively, regardless of direction. In fact, he didn't even know where he was running to, only that he couldn't stop, completely dazed by the bombing. A few other lucky surviving soldiers were also running and hiding, but occasionally someone wasn't as lucky, torn apart by bombs. Those aerial bombs dropped with such power that it wasn't safe even within a few hundred meters. Those closer would be blasted into a pulp, far from leaving a whole body. There wouldn't even be a sizable chunk left intact. Escaping to a ruined high ground, Hawk's mouth gaped open, and he suddenly stopped his fleeing steps, staring ahead in shock. In Hawk's terrified vision, the capital city of Yutai country, Taewei City, lay ahead, where explosions erupted one after another, flames soaring into the sky, illuminating every corner of the city. On the streets, the Yutai people were panicked and fled in all directions, their expressions twisted in extreme fear. Countless black dots fell from the sky. Those were bombs and missiles. Under this airstrike, buildings were destroyed one by one, debris scattered, as if unable to withstand this merciless blow. The Azriel Sarona Tower, standing at a total height of 238.4 meters, was now blown in half, the collapsing section crashing to the ground, billowing smoke and dust. Many Yutai were hopelessly crushed beneath the fallen building. The once majestic Divine Hall was now reduced to ruins, and the weathered stone bridge, too, turned to dust in this sudden airstrike. Thick smoke billowed across the city's sky, with occasional sporadic anti-aircraft fire trying to fight back. But they were quickly hit with pinpoint precision by cruise missiles, destroying those attempting to intercept the air defense missiles on the ground. Even the factory area outside the city did not escape, bombs dropping like the sickle of death, coldly and mercilessly thrown at the rows of factories, flames engulfing everything in an instant. The huge explosions followed one after another, the intense shock waves toppling factory machines, dust flying, obscuring the sky. The capital of Yutai country trembled and wailed under the airstrike, like a ravaged woman, covered in scars and too appalling to behold. Boom! Suddenly, a bomb dropped far from Hawks. It was a 2-ton aerial bomb. The platoon-size unit gathering there disappeared in an instant, blown to an unknown hellish place by the bomb, followed by shock waves sweeping in all directions. Shit! Hawks only had time to curse before the shock wave knocked him down, rendering him unconscious. Who knows how long passed, but when Hawks groggily woke up again, shaking off the dust from his body, he realized the airstrike had stopped. The Taewei city that appeared before Hawks had long since become lifeless, its appearance unrecognizable. The streets filled with burned-out vehicles, smoke and fire leaving only cold, lifeless bodies behind. Is anyone there? Hawks checked the time. Only half an hour had passed since the bombardment. Yet the Taewei city seemed completely changed. Feeling lonely and helpless, he shouted loudly and used the radio to call out to his teammates. No one responded for a long time, and just as he felt a bit disheartened, the ground underfoot shook slightly. A MEVA tank from Yutai country appeared at the street corner, followed by a second, a third, along with armored vehicles and soldiers. It was a mixed force of Yutai soldiers and beautiful country mercenaries. Survivors regrouped from the air raid, with heavy equipment sparse and around 100 people. Many wounded, their morale low and looking very miserable. Hey, brother. I'm here. Overjoyed, Hawks ran forward, scrambling. Gather up. Soldiers still alive get close. Civilians go hide and evacuate. We have no time to protect you now. The unit continuously used loudspeakers to speak out. Some civilians trying to plead for military protection and help, but were mercilessly refused. Hawk smoothly joined the unit and was immediately questioned by the unit's leader, a Yutai captain named Ken Yongta. What unit are you from, and are you alone? Who are the enemies? My original station at the Black Mu 2nd Mechanized Infantry Regiment has been completely bombed flat now. It's definitely the Jeka group. They've all declared war on us. As for where the enemy is, we currently only know they're from the sky. They carried out carpet bombing of our command center, air defense system, heavy troop formations, ammunition depots, etc. We now have severe losses, a 30,000-man force, who knows how many are left. As Hawks successfully joined the unit, he became increasingly numb with each question, realizing Taewei City originally garrisoned 30,000 soldiers, including quite a few beautiful country mercenaries, and that such a high-intensity air raid caused overwhelming losses, instilling genuine fear in Hawks. Similar fear gripped most soldiers present, terrified by the air raid's horrific casualties. Everyone listen to me. The air raid is over. Our nation's warplanes have taken off. We must find those damned bombers and tear them all apart. Captain Ken Yongta shouted loudly to boost morale. Yet many remained fearful, his words having limited effect. Like Hawks, revenge was the last thing on his mind. All he wanted was to go home to his mother quickly, then march to the Black Palace to protest, kicking the butts of the Congress lords who sent him here to die. At the same time, above the clouds, "Sir, we have completed the first round of airstrikes. Multiple military facilities and soldier camps in Taewei City were intensely bombed by our side. including major airports and missile positions within Thai country. We also launched a large number of cruise missiles. According to the current satellite images, we have achieved significant damage effects. The living forces of Thai's army have been severely hit by us. On board a Hwanyang Airspace strategic bomber, Miao Luan listened to the report, a faint smile appearing on his face. The Hwanyang Airspace strategic bomber didn't just attack Tai Wei City below. Being capable of carrying conventional bombs, cruise missiles, short-range attack missiles, and cluster bombs, the Hwanyang Airspace strategic bomber boasts immense combat power. Coupled with the fact that Thai country's territory is not vast at all, no more than 500 kilometers long and over 100 kilometers wide, it is completely within the cruising missile range from the air for the Hwanyang Airspace strategic bomber. Now, various military airports and soldier camps within Thai country have suffered varying degrees of strikes. Although Thai has air defense missiles such as the famous Iron Dome system, intercepting cruise missiles, unlike rockets, is extremely challenging. The sudden nature of the attack led to great success. Now proceed to execute the second phase of the operation. Open the hatch. Everyone prepare to land. Miao Luan stood up from the cabin, stretching his muscles and bones. As he rose, the second-generation biological armor was fully activated. The mercury-like liquid covered every inch of his body, solidifying into the hardened bio-armor, transforming him into a nearly 3-meter-tall silver-white steel soldier. Roger that, the hatch is opening. We will provide air cover. The voice of the bomber squadron's commander came through. The altitude of the Hwanyang Airspace strategic bomber had decreased significantly. Once the cabin door opened, a gust of wind whooshed inside. All second-generation Sacred Blood Gene warriors, land with me into the hell below. Remember, the Supreme Leader is watching us. Let's defeat those barbaric squids and present the Supreme Leader with a squid feast. Miao Luan's eyes were icy cold. As his words fell, all the soldiers shouted in unison. For the Supreme Leader, the Gene warriors at the forefront of the cabin door, equipped with second-generation biological armor, jumped down without hesitation, not carrying any parachutes. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, deploying a direct jump like this requires soldiers to endure tremendous pressure, especially as they need to jump into the enemy's capital, directly charging into a heavily guarded area. At this moment, fear is a biological instinct, yet not a single Gene warrior hesitated for a moment. Courage is there him offered to the Supreme Leader. One after another, every Gene warrior fearlessly leaped from the cabin, transforming into a silver-white speck as they plunged toward the ground below. Bang, bang, bang. 2 Spider main battle mechas also reached the cabin edge. They carried parachutes, essential for providing heavy firepower support to the Gene warriors. After the 2 Spider main battle mechas jumped down, Miao Luan walked to the cabin edge and bounced out. He left the cabin, appearing in the sky at an altitude of 10,000 meters with nothing to rely on, only seeing the Gene warriors rapidly falling around him. Below, the smoke-billowing Tai Wei City became increasingly clear, the city they were about to conquer. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, a line of fire swept toward Miao Luan from the ground, explosions continuously erupting around. It was an anti-aircraft gun position, where a twin 35mm self-propelled anti-aircraft gun had survived the earlier airstrikes and was now crazily firing at the descending Miao Luan, wanting to shoot him down. Watching as the powerful 35mm anti-aircraft gun drew closer, there was no panic on Miao Luan's face. Instead, he spread his arms. Rip. The next moment, a blood-colored thin wing spread from beneath his arms and other areas, resembling wingsuit flight, rushing toward Tai Wei City at hundreds of kilometers per hour. This was one of the ways Miao Luan manipulated his internal blood. After injecting the Holy Blood Gene potion, the blood within his body became highly versatile, allowing him to glide without a parachute, choosing his landing direction. Miao Luan deftly adjusted his flying stance mid-air, like a diving hawk. The anti-aircraft guns found it exceedingly difficult to lock onto him due to his small size and agility. The anti-aircraft rounds kept trailing behind, unable to bring him down. Moreover, that self-propelled anti-aircraft gun didn't flaunt its power for long. The Luanyang airspace bomber was still cruising in the sky. Soon, a bomb plummeted from above. With a thunderous boom, the world became silent. The self-propelled anti-aircraft gun was disintegrated with no trace remaining. With the threat eliminated, Miao Luan flew more freely. In the blink of an eye, Taywei City was vividly before him. Miao Luan targeted a tall building, flying directly toward it. As he neared, he continuously stretched his blood-mixed second-generation biological armor, changing his gliding posture. His limbs extended in a large character shape, the thin wings fully stretched to their limits, resembling a large kite. His speed began rapidly decreasing, reaching 150 kilometers per hour upon landing on the building rooftop. This landing speed would be catastrophic for ordinary soldiers, but Jin warriors, clad entirely in armor, could fully withstand it. With a thud, Miao Luan's feet hit the ground. The mercurial bio-armor on his soles morphed into blade-like ice skates, sparking as they scraped two deep marks on the rooftop concrete, halting Miao Luan's momentum. Around Taywei City, similar scenes unfolded. The Jin warriors descended from the sky, landing in an unprecedented manner. Coincidentally, Miao Luan's landing spot was right above Hawk's unit. Hawks looked up at the commotion, only to see a streak of red light crashing onto a building in front. At first, he thought it was some kind of bomb, and it scared him enough to drop flat on the ground. Until he saw the edge of the rooftop, where a 3-meter-tall figure clad in radiant silver-white armor appeared, shimmering in the sunlight. Gu? Genetic warrior. It's a genetic warrior from the Jekka group. Hawk's face turned deathly pale, his eyes filled with fear and despair. Jekka group? It's indeed the Jekka group attacking us. Where did the genetic warrior come from? Let's retreat quickly. We can't fight him. It seemed like more than one genetic warrior fell from the sky just now. Our capital is doomed. The surrounding Yutai soldiers were the same, and upon seeing Miao Luan, their footsteps involuntarily began to retreat. Even though they numbered in the hundreds and had several armored vehicles and tanks, they were up against a genetic warrior, Jekka Group's ace, humanity's strongest single combat power. Who wouldn't be afraid? Don't panic. He's only one man. Open fire. Blast him to death. There were indeed some who were unafraid. Ken Yongta, this Yutai officer, pointed at Miao Luan. His eyes filled with hatred because his parents had died in a Jekka Group bombing. Miao Luan looked at the trembling Yutai soldiers and the tanks and armored vehicles adjusting their turrets. A cold smile tugged at the corner of his mouth as he stepped directly off the rooftop with his right leg, leaping from the hundreds of meters high building, landing freely. As he neared the ground, his left fingers stabbed into the wall like knives, scraping against air conditioning units and protective nets, sparks flying, slowing his descent. He completed the rapid drop from the towering building, landing steadily on the ground, facing this Yutai army head-on. By the order of President Su, slay you all. Miao Luan half-squatted and stood up. His words weren't even finished before he charged toward the Yutai troops. Bam! 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 Miao Luan held a Gatling machine gun in each hand, ammunition boxes strapped to his back. Under the terrified gaze of countless Yutai soldiers, the rotating 6-barrel Gatlings showered bullets like torrential rain. The frontline soldiers were engulfed by bullets, mingling with the threats of death and screams of fear. Numerous blood blossoms exploded, bodies pierced repeatedly by bullets, severing them into halves. Boom! A high-explosive bomb fired from a tank exploded, smoke spreading everywhere. Even before the cannon barrel turned, Miao Luan had already dodged, his extreme mobility marking the start of his slaughter. Some Yutai soldiers chose to fight back, but their weapons were utterly ineffective against Miao Luan. Before a second-generation sacred blood Jin warrior, weapons that could easily slaughter their kind were no different from a burnt stick. Desperately seeking cover, soldiers were gunned down in the relentless machine gun fire, rolling and crawling, attempting to escape this death zone. The metallic clatter of machine guns mixed with the dull thuds of bodies being hit, Several tanks and armored vehicles fought back fiercely, yet Miao Luan's mobility was too high. The complex urban environment offered Miao Luan plenty of concealment and cover. Running swiftly, leaping high, Miao Luan jumped onto an infantry fighting vehicle's roof, delivering a powerful kick. The force wrenched the vehicle's long machine gun barrel askew, rendering it inoperable. In the confusion, a MEVA tank fired directly. With a boom, it missed Miao Luan, instead destroying its own infantry fighting vehicle, killing all its occupants under their own tank. Fools! Aim at that Jin warrior! Ken Yongta swore vehemently, angrily rebuking his surviving subordinates. Miao Luan shuttled back and forth across the battlefield, dual-wielding Gatlings making him exceptionally formidable, as bullets ravaged the scene like a rainstorm. For a time, wails, cries for help, and roars filled the streets. Soldiers fell one by one under the hail of bullets, blood mixing with dirt, staining the land red. The Gatling machine gun reaped lives like a deathly scythe. The Jin warrior's slaughter speed was incredible, mostly unaffected by attacks, impervious to blades and bullets. Their senses, strength, speed, and stamina were unimaginable to ordinary people. Killing regular soldiers was like squashing an ant. In such a hopeless situation, the terror of Thai soldiers reached its peak, their eyes filled with despair. Not that there weren't soldiers who tried to counterattack desperately, attempting to change their fate, but their retaliation seemed pitifully weak to Miao Luan, only turning into fragmented corpses, forming a symphony of war on the street. What is war? War is when a mother raises her son for over 20 years, and he can only survive for an average of 3 seconds in front of a Jin warrior. The battle on the street was brutal and bloody. Hundreds of troops were routed by Miao Luan. Boom! Another tank shell landed as Miao Luan swiftly darted, agile as a leopard. In modern urban warfare, even ordinary soldiers with RPGs could successfully ambush such a massive steel beast like a tank, let alone a genetic warrior like Miao Luan. Miao Luan rapidly sidestepped forward, avoiding a barrage of machine gun fire. The tank's turret couldn't keep up with Miao Luan's pace, and combined with the tank's limited field of view, it quickly lost track of him. By now, Miao Luan had reached the tank's weak rear, with a rocket launcher he had conveniently snatched in hand, launching one straight at the tank's tail. The metal stream from the rocket penetrated the tank, causing black smoke to billow, and soon the tank was immobilized. A few disheveled crew members crawled out from the top hatch of the tank, only to be promptly riddled with bullets by Miao Luan. The machine gun on the armored vehicles continued firing, and despite the prolonged battle, Miao Luan was hit by some machine gun rounds. However, his formidable defense meant he was barely affected unless repeatedly hit by a 30mm machine gun. But Miao Luan would not allow himself to fall into such dire straits. Kicking off the wall, Miao Luan swiftly approached an infantry fighting vehicle. The capillaries on the surface of his right arm burst open, and the oozing blood mixed with the flowing biological armor to form a short spear about 1.5 meters long. Tear! The short spear wielded by Miao Luan directly pierced through the armor of the infantry fighting vehicle. Under the stunned gaze of countless onlookers, the spearhead in Miao Luan's hand melted, and the coagulated blood formed finger-sized darts that flew wildly inside the infantry fighting vehicle, shooting every crew member inside without exception. After becoming a holy blood Jin warrior, Miao Luan's close combat attack power improved further. Capable of withstanding 20mm machine gun fire, his attack strength also reached this level, effortlessly penetrating some armored vehicles. Miao Luan successively destroyed 2 tanks and 3 armored vehicles. These cumbersome armored vehicles were helpless against agile genetic warriors in the city. The battle continued, and after annihilating the armored vehicles, the Thai infantry stood no chance. Miao Luan nearly wiped them out. The blood stained Miao Luan's biological armor, with bits of flesh and blood filling the gaps in the armor, making him look like a demon crawling out of hell. At this point in the war, the Thai country's unit had long since collapsed, and the remaining soldiers were frantically trying to escape. Miao Luan didn't rush to pursue them, but instead set his sights on the officer Ken Yongta. Without any unnecessary words, Miao Luan aimed the Gatling gun in his hand at Ken Yongta. "You demon! Go to hell with me!" Kenyang fired his pistol at Miao Luan in a final struggle, but the bullets were deflected by the biological armor, leaving not a trace. Before Kenyang could empty his pistol magazine, the Gatling gun's barrage tore through him, ripping his body apart. Thud! Kenyang's head rolled and landed at Miao Luan's feet. Miao Luan looked down, seemingly noticing a satisfied smile of revenge on Kenyang's face before his death. Suddenly, a fierce sense of life-and-death crisis swept over Miao Luan. In the sky, a missile was rapidly approaching. It turned out that Kenyang, knowing he couldn't escape, directly notified the remaining command post and the rear, requesting a missile strike on his coordinates. Miao Luan dodged as fast as he could, but a missile's speed was not something a pair of legs could match. Miao Luan had barely run far when the missile exploded on the street. Rumble! The 500-kilogram warhead detonated, sending shockwaves in all directions, turning some remaining Thai country soldiers to dust under their own attack. Miao Luan was also affected, feeling as if he was hammered countless times. A missile fragment sliced through his armor, cutting the biological armor, piercing the flesh, and lodging into the liver. Let alone the flesh and blood. The weapons and communication devices on his body were all damaged by the shock, and even the biological armor was cracked open. Boom! Miao Luan was slammed against the wall of a building, which now bore a dent surrounded by web-like cracks. Ugh! He spat out a mouthful of blood, feeling severe internal injuries, his bones broken massively, and his limbs deformed and twisted. In the distance, the roar of fighter jets approached. Miao Luan struggled to lift his head, hearing a dense sound of footsteps and the clanking of tank tracks. Another unit of Thai country soldiers was getting closer, approaching from a nearby city. As Thai country isn't large, support could arrive quickly if there were enough transport vehicles. This unit was originally intended to rendezvous with Kenyang, but upon seeing the massive explosion from afar, they slowed their steps and cautiously moved to investigate. The forward Thai country soldiers cautiously approached, rejoicing upon seeing the heavily injured Miao Luan. There's a genetic warrior here. He's on his last legs. Captain Kenyang is likely dead. Let's avenge him. Kill this guy and shatter the myth of the invincible gene warrior. The Thai soldiers were ecstatic, pulling out their firearms and rocket launchers, as armored vehicles from the rear began to arrive upon receiving the news. Seeking death. Miao Luan's eyes glinted coldly as he pulled himself from the wall, leaving a large character-shaped crater on the outer wall of the building. Faced with the reckless Thai soldiers, Miao Luan coldly pulled out the missile shrapnel stuck in his liver. Yet, no blood flowed from the wound, as he began his assault once more. Though his speed was impacted by his injuries, it was still beyond the reach of ordinary Thai soldiers. The Gatling gun was damaged in the missile attack, so Miao Luan opted for the most brutal close combat. The biological armor on his arms started to writhe, merging with Miao Luan's blood to form two sharp, blood-red swords. With one slash, everything, whether bodies, firearms, or rocket launchers, was severed. A large number of Thai soldiers were cut in half by Miao Luan's strike, their screams and wails echoing at the scene. He's so badly injured, yet he can still fight. The Thai soldiers were utterly terrified. They couldn't understand how Miao Luan, looking so miserable and with twisted limbs, could maintain such combat power. Miao Luan offered no response. Instead, from the wounds torn open by the missile attack, blood transformed into tiny crimson tendrils that writhed and wrapped around, rapidly restoring his flesh and blood. His powerful self-healing ability surpassed even that of a mutant ghost. As long as he couldn't be killed, he would regenerate swiftly, retaining his formidable vitality. Nowadays, for a holy blood gene warrior, the only real fatal injuries are to the heart and head. Wounds elsewhere could be healed by their potent self-healing powers. Where are our tanks? Get the tanks here quickly. Blast him with artillery. The Thai soldiers broke into disarray from the fright, but regained confidence upon seeing a few of their own tanks arriving. Seeing the tanks rotate their barrels, Miao Luan's brow furrowed slightly. His legs were covered in wounds of various sizes, fractured and twisted, affecting his speed and agility significantly. Against such heavy firepower, speed and flexibility were the keys to victory. It was impossible to face tank artillery with just the flesh. Even Miao Luan couldn't do it. However, just as Miao Luan was planning to lay low for a few minutes to let his injuries heal before returning to battle, he heard a whistling sound overhead. Bang! 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 A black dot fell from the sky. An aerial bomb dropped from a Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber, landing among the ranks of Yutai soldiers. This time, it was their turn to suffer an aerial strike, without the protection of biological armor. A large portion of the street was destroyed by the powerful aerial bomb. The blast consumed those Yutai soldiers and overturned their tanks, sending flames soaring into the sky. With just one aerial bomb, the Yutai soldiers surrounding them were nearly wiped out, leaving only 2 MEVA tanks at the rear unscathed. One tank made a U-turn to flee, while the other continued charging towards Miao Luan, its barrel swiveling as if intending to avenge their comrades by killing Miao Luan. Miao Luan's lips curled into a smile, for a shadow appeared before him. It was a Spider main battle mecha deploying with parachutes. The descent speed of this behemoth was slow, so even when the Jin warriors had already begun fighting, the Spider main battle mecha was only just landing with its large parachute. Boom! The Spider main battle mecha landed in front of Miao Luan, amidst a cloud of dust, its 203mm cannon aimed at the daring MEVA tank. Under the desperate stares of the crew inside, the cannon's muzzle flashed, and a 203mm shell smashed into the 60-ton vehicle, instantly disassembling the MEVA tank into a shower of parts. A match for each. Tanks might pose a threat to Jin warriors, but before a Spider main battle mecha, they were little more than a small snack. Thanks a lot. Miao Luan waved towards the Spider main battle mecha. Commander Miao, it's an honor to fight alongside you. A Jin warrior emerged atop the Spider main battle mecha, smiling warmly. Let's go. Let's continue to clear out the remaining enemies. Miao Luan did not hesitate, quickly climbing onto the Spider main battle mecha to collaborate, making it easier to deal with heavy firepower. For instance, leaving tanks and armored vehicles to the Spider main battle mecha was perfect. Each had their strengths, and the Spider main battle mecha excelled at clearing out armored forces. Meanwhile, the presence of Jin warriors could protect the Spider main battle mecha from infantry ambushes in complex urban combat. After an air raid, the remnants of the Yutai organization in Taewei City, where tens of thousands of Yutai soldiers were stationed, were already few. As for military forces from elsewhere in Yutai, aside from nearby city troops, units further away needed time to gather and move, not to mention that many bases had also been bombed by Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers' cruise missiles, leaving them in chaos. Now, the remaining Yutai forces in Taewei City quickly fell into disarray in the face of the descending Jin warriors and Spider main battle mechas. After the air raid, Yutai's military forces were cleared by Jin warriors. The complex city environment allowed Jin warriors to thrive here. Large sections of Taewei City's districts fell into the hands of Jin warriors. The capital of Yutai country was gradually being occupied by the Jin warriors. Retaking the city from Jin warriors in urban combat was quite difficult, unless using indiscriminate airstrikes and artillery bombardments. As the Jin warriors gradually devoured Taewei City, an air battle erupted in the sky to contest air supremacy, which was why the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber didn't immediately assist Miao Luan earlier. Above 10,000 meters over Taewei City, dozens of Yutai country fighter jets are rushing towards this location. Because the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber bombarded various airports within Yutai country by launching missiles, Yutai country's fighter jets suffered significant losses. So although Yutai country has hundreds of fighter jets, either they were destroyed at the airport, or there's not enough time to repair the runways, preventing them from taking off. The dozens of fighter jets now flying over are maintained by Yutai country's ground crew at all cost, refueled, armed, and urgently took off to support Taewei City. Despite Yutai country being a tiny place, it has the backing of beautiful country, making its air force quite strong. For example, the fighter jets rushing to support Taewei City include not only the classic F-15 and F-16 jets, but also the beautiful country's fifth-generation fighter, the F-35. These fighter jets are organized into pairs, directed by Gray from U-Thai country's Air Force, who is reporting the situation to the Rear Command Center. Report: the fighter jet squadron has reached the vicinity of Tai Wai City's airspace. We are currently searching for enemy aircraft, but have found nothing on radar. Requesting ground radar information input to help locate enemy traces. Gray spoke via radio while frowning at the empty radar warning receiver. Its function is to detect enemy aircraft radar signals, alerting pilots of enemy attacks, to allow pilots adequate preparation for aerial combat and calmly respond to threats. However, having reached the airspace around Tai Wai City, they still haven't found any traces of the enemy, leaving Gray puzzled. He's piloting an F-35A fighter jet, albeit as an export version weakened by beautiful country, yet it is an advanced fifth-generation fighter worth over $1 million, with the APG-81 radar offering an air search range of up to 150 kilometers. If the enemy aircraft were nearby, they should have been found already unless... Gray's face changed slightly as he quickly issued a command via radio. Attention everyone, it's highly possible that the enemy aircraft from the Jekka group are equipped with stealth capabilities. Everyone should spread out to widen the search airspace. Report immediately upon target acquisition. Gray didn't know the enemy he was searching for was just above at 50,000 meters. Report: there are a total of 36 fighter jets. Requesting the captain to assign mission targets. Aboard a Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber, Sang Hong listened to the report over the radio. He is the captain commanding this bomber squadron. Assign the predetermined attack targets, radar lock, prepare to launch air-to-air missiles. Sang Hong remained calm and quickly organized attack targets for everyone. Typically, bombers face two options, loss or escape, when confronted with fighter jets, given their adversarial relationship. No bomber desires to encounter fighter jets during a mission, as this places them in great peril. But Sang Hong shared no such concerns because he's piloting Jekka Group's masterpiece, the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber. Other bombers fear facing fighter jets, but the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber does not abide by this rule. Like now, the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber's powerful stealth capabilities allow it to disappear right under the noses of U-Thai country fighter jets. Modern warfare relies on intelligence, the ability to see the enemy while remaining unseen yourself, which provides a significant advantage. Report to squad leader: I'm Ice Cream. I have radar lock on the enemy position. I'm Ice. Battle preparations complete. I'm Little Panda. Battle preparations complete. I'm Stupid Pigeon. Listening to the voices coming through the radio communication, Sang Hong observed enemy traces via biological radar and issued commands. Everyone, launch air-to-air missiles. Let's show these U-Thai Space Army troops that the skies belong to us, the Jekka Eagles, and they are not for these pheasants to tamper with. Shoot them all down from the sky. After these words, Sang Hong pressed the missile launch button. The Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber's belly opened, releasing 5 air-to-air missiles one after another, heading towards U-Thai country fighter jets. The bomber's ample payload capacity allows the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber to carry numerous self-defense weapons alongside its bombing missions. These air-to-air missiles are a type of self-defense weapon, which one would seldom see on other bombers. Indeed, eliminating enemy aircraft ensures one's own safety, classifying air-to-air missiles as self-defense weapons. 7 other Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers did the same, launching air-to-air missiles towards their designated targets. A total of 40 air-to-air missiles launched, marking the first round of strikes by the Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers. Alert! Alert! Fighter jet locked on by missile. Immediately take emergency evasive actions. The piercing sound came through, and the F-35 fighter jet piloted by Gray suddenly emitted continuous high-frequency alarm sounds. The radar screen flashed red, displaying incoming missile arrows. When did this happen? Where exactly are the enemies? Gray was shocked, as he hadn't seen any trace of the enemy, yet enemy missiles had already been fired first. Even though he was piloting one of the most advanced fifth-generation stealth fighters, why had circumstances reversed, leaving him blind and deaf, searching for the enemy in the vast airspace, getting targeted by enemy aircraft. Bad luck. I'm locked by a missile. Damn it. I'm locked by 2 missiles. Ah, damn it. What is happening here? Where exactly is the enemy? Forget the chatter. Initiate emergency evasive maneuvers now. Frightened cries from pilots came through the radio in this beyond visual range aerial combat, which has always been a tactic used by the strong against the weak. For example, in the past, Yutai country relied on advanced aircraft purchased from beautiful country, using this method to bully opponents. Now, the tables have turned, and it's their turn to be sanctioned. Air-to-air missiles travel substantially faster than fighter jets. Generally, fighter jets ignite afterburners with speeds reaching twice the sonic speed. Yet the launch speed of air-to-air missiles reaches 6 times the sonic speed. Yutai country pilots exert their utmost, maneuvering their planes to perform various evasive actions, dodging incoming missiles by employing maneuvers and firing infrared countermeasures. In modern warfare, once a fighter jet is locked on by a missile, the mortality rate is extremely high. Bang! 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 Firework rain descended from the sky as Yutai country's fighter jets were hit by air-to-air missiles, exploding into huge flames, turning into deadly fireworks in the sky, both brilliant and lethal. Some fighter jets were hit by shrapnel from exploding air-to-air missiles, emitting black smoke as they plummeted to the ground, returning into the embrace of Mother Earth, with fuel and ammunition causing massive explosions upon impact, leaving deep craters on the ground. Gray was very fortunate as he evaded an incoming air-to-air missile, his infrared decoy flares deceiving the missile and successfully steering him away from danger. In this process, he witnessed an F-16 fighter jet from Yutai country being struck by an air-to-air missile, with the pilot unable to eject in time, becoming entombed with the disintegrating jet high in the sky. Just one round of missile attacks resulted in over half of the fighter jet squadron. Gray was in being destroyed, shot down by air-to-air missiles. Beep, 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 beep. Suddenly, Gray noticed a signal fluctuation on the radar screen. He widened his eyes because during the evasion of the air-to-air missile, he had been continuously ascending in his fighter jet, now reaching an altitude of 18,000 meters, which was already the service ceiling of the F-35 fighter jet he was piloting. But on the radar screen, it indicated the approximate position of the enemy aircraft, which was at the altitude of 50,000 meters, a height unattainable for the fighter jet he was flying. You've got to be kidding, at over 50,000 meters. Gray felt that his worldview was about to collapse. What kind of black technology had JECA Group developed to create aircraft with a combat ceiling over 50,000 meters? But the radar wouldn't deceive him, even if the onboard radar could only vaguely sense the location of the unknown aircraft. Everyone, the enemy is at the altitude of 50,000 meters. They are a stealth aircraft, and our radar is unable to accurately lock onto them at this height. Continue to ascend with me. Gray gritted his teeth and suddenly maneuvered his F-35 fighter jet towards the enemy aircraft detected by the onboard radar, drawing closer to allow for a more precise radar lock. The distance grew closer, and his F-35 fighter jet flew higher and higher, surpassing 20,000 meters, and was still climbing. This had already surpassed the F-35 fighter jet service ceiling, and continuing to rise made the aircraft prone to malfunctions or even disintegration. Gray could also feel the aircraft trembling, and the controls becoming more unstable. Finally, his radar illumination successfully locked onto the unknown enemy aircraft. Missile launch! Without much hesitation, Gray hurriedly launched 2 air-to-air missiles and then quickly descended in altitude, fearing that staying any longer would lead to his aircraft disintegrating. The air-to-air missiles ignited in mid-air, charging towards the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber. Alert! Missiles incoming, 2 in total. Sang Hong watched the signals displayed on the screen. Remaining calm in the face of danger, he gave orders to the 2 co-pilot aviators. Infrared flares ready. Activate close-in weapon system. Engage maximum speed. The Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, personally piloted by Sang Hong, swiftly beat its wings, with dozens of thin wings flapping at full speed, accelerating the massive bomber to a speed of 2.3 Mach. Additionally, in the belly of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, the fuselage opened up, slowly raising a close-in weapon system. This was a 30mm close-in weapon system with 20 barrels, capable of firing up to 20,000 rounds per minute. Anyone who saw this would likely have their eyes widen in amazement. Someone actually had the audacity to put a naval close-in weapon system on an aircraft. Yet, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber accomplished exactly this. Using the Spirit Power biological battery, the Luanyang bomber could provide sufficient power to the close-in weapon system's motors, and its enormous fuselage and load capacity easily accommodated the system, becoming the national shield of the Luanyang Airspace Bomber. ZZ. The Luanyang close-in weapon system's barrel rotated, aiming at the incoming missiles, the barrels rapidly spinning, ejecting a torrent of shells, the dense 30mm machine gun fire resembling a steel storm, obliterating the two incoming air-to-air missiles 3 kilometers away. The same scene occurred on several other Luanyang bombers. Even with the U-Thai Space Army fighting to the death, they could not handle these steel behemoths flying above 50,000 meters. The Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber's counterattack quickly commenced, with the second wave of air-to-air missiles launched. Under this round of saturated air-to-air missile attacks by the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers, the U-Thai country's fighter jets were all wiped out. This time, Gray wasn't so lucky. His fighter jet was directly blown apart. He ejected the seat right before the explosion, but the shrapnel from the mid-air exploding and disintegrating jet severed his legs, and at an altitude of tens of thousands of meters, dangling by a parachute, he had no way to stop the bleeding, helplessly watching as blood poured from his severed legs, emitting painful screams. The loss of substantial amounts of blood quickly darkened Gray's vision. Suddenly, it seemed as if a huge shadow appeared before his eyes. It was a rounded, over 100-meter-long terrifying aircraft, flying with dozens of wings. So this is Jekka Group's aircraft. A monster, a monster. In the brief flash before death, Gray looked as the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, having cleared aerial threats, descended to escort the genetic warrior, leaving only one last thought in his mind. What kind of monstrous aircraft has Jekka Group created? But Gray would never find out, as he bled out, losing his life, with his body drifting with the parachute, its destination unknown. With the destruction of the U-Thai country's air force, it also means that Taewei City has completely fallen into the hands of the Jekka Group. Taewei City is the capital of U-Thai country. The significance of a nation's capital being captured cannot be compared to other cities. In the Sky Dome, 8 Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers split into 4, continuing to maintain a cruise over Taewei City, providing aerial fire support. The other 4 Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers, grouped in pairs, began flying to the north and south of U-Thai country, continuing bombing missions to clear away the U-Thai country troops coming to support, as well as various military facilities and high-threat targets. The ultra-long endurance of Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers can fly 36,000 kilometers, plus a huge payload, which means retaining a significant combat capability to continue long-duration high-endurance missions. The genetic warriors occupying Taewei City did not choose to cease action despite the calming of the conflict. At this time, the resisting military forces within the city of U-Thai country had basically been cleared out. There were occasional sporadic gunshots at the ends of streets and alleys, mostly from those ignorant U-Thai civilians' attacks. Miao Luin led a squad of genetic warriors along the streets, entering a seaside villa area located in the northern part of Taewei City. This place was built with rows of luxurious villas, with gardens, swimming pools, and sculptures scattered everywhere, displaying a scene of opulence belonging to the wealthy and powerful district of Taewei City. Prior to Miao Luin's arrival, there were already 3 genetic warriors waiting here, led by Situang. Commander Miao. Situang saluted Miao Luin, his expression full of respect. Because before him, this top person in the steel camp was said to have followed President Su since the very beginning. The earliest traceable event was when President Su captured Mande City. He, along with farmers newly joining the Jekka Security Department, drove tractors and wielded old shotguns to confront the soldiers of the Mande United Army, and within the Jekka Group, few officials had older qualifications than him. Not to mention Miao Luin's combat power among the genetic warriors in the steel camp who revered strength, was the strongest, the Steel Camp's top duelist. Hard work, you did the task well this time. Miao Luan nodded slightly. The actions of Situong in Haifa City were noted, coupled with recent major moves in South Korea, making him a rising star in the Steel Camp. All in service of the supreme leader, not hard at all. Being too modest is not good, speaking of which, this is the destination, right? Many target figures hiding here. His gaze turned to the villa district, silent inside, with no movement. Correct. Many elite resistors against the Jekka group are hiding inside. Situang's eyes were fierce. Those daring to confront the Jekka group had chosen a path leading to death. Capture them. Miao Luan waved his hand, and the genetic warriors behind him began to move, heading towards the villas. Miao Luan himself entered a villa. The tightly closed door was kicked open. Bam! As the door was kicked open, a gunshot sounded, along with a man's shout. "Get out, you robbers! Get out of my home!" The bullet bounced off the armored mask. Miao Luan's cold gaze fixated on a man in his pajamas, around 60, well-maintained in appearance, holding a rifle with a smoking muzzle. "Is this land yours? Daring to call us robbers? Truly laughable." Miao Luan shook his head, then swung a slap. Bang! A slap from a genetic warrior is not something an ordinary person can endure. The man's head burst like a rotten watermelon, spray of flesh, bone, and brain matter staining the jade-covered wall with a mottled hue. Without the slightest pause underfoot, Miao Luan expressionlessly continued onward. Killing, for Miao Luan, bore no psychological burden whatsoever, even if the opponent was not a mission target. Daring to fire at genetic warriors naturally define them as enemies. Killing enemies is inherent and justified. Ascending the stairs to the second floor, Miao Luan kicked open door after door. In the master bedroom, he found 7 or 8 people hiding inside. "Everyone, come outside with me. I suspect some of you may be infected with the zombie virus." Miao Luan glanced around, coldly leaving behind a sentence. "What zombie virus? We never had zombies in Tayway City. Your Jekka group is acting recklessly. We in Thai country." A man still tried to argue, but before he finished speaking, Miao Luan pointed the shotgun he had just picked up at the man and pulled the trigger. Flames burst from the muzzle, and the immense power sent the man flying 2 meters away. His upper body shredded into pieces of flesh, splattering blood and staining several hiding men and women, whose screams immediately filled the room. "I don't have time to waste talking. 10-second countdown. If you don't move, there will be no mercy." Miao Luan skillfully snapped open the gun barrel, ejecting a still-smoking shell, and then reloaded a bullet. Facing the threat of the genetic warriors, the families of the wealthy huddled like quails, choosing obediently to follow Miao Luan's orders. Not just here with Miao Luan, the entire villa area was besieged by the genetic warriors. Soon, screams, pleas for mercy, sobs, and wails echoed continuously through the villa area. The speed of the genetic warriors was swift. In no time, large numbers of men, women, and children were captured and brought to an open area, each shivering as they knelt on the ground, their fearful eyes looking at the menacing genetic warriors. Miao Luan stood in front of the crowd, his indifferent gaze sweeping over them, as all the Thai elites bowed their heads, not daring to meet his eyes. Situong, holding a booklet, moved back and forth in the crowd, occasionally calling out a person's name and pulling them and their families out of the crowd. Those brought out were then collectively taken to a remote, deserted spot and confined in a small dark room. "What are you doing? What do you want? We didn't offend you. Why are you capturing me? Don't you believe I'll go to the United Nations Security Council, to the International Court to accuse you?" During the operation, a man shouted loudly, unwilling to comply with the Jekka Group's instructions. Elliot Ewan Francis, a big name ranked 4th on the global rich list. "I'm sure I don't need to remind you of what you've done." Miao Luan looked at Francis. His memory was good, recognizing this important target, and he sneered coldly. "Your internet news companies and social platforms have wantonly flung mud at our Jekka Group recently, fabricating large amounts of fake news to slander our Jekka Group for researching biochemical weapons harmful to the world. You might have forgotten these details, but our Jeka group has them all noted down meticulously. President Su specifically instructed me to take good care of you Thai elite. In a flash, Francis's face turned ashen. He knew the opponent came prepared. As a distinguished member of the Public Affairs Committee of Beautiful Country and Thai Country, he once trusted Butler Isaga's words, choosing to confront Jeka Group, and his controlled internet platforms did not spare Jeka Group from attacks and slander. It was all Isaga's idea, I was just executing it. It's not me behind it. You can't kill me. Do you realize how much turmoil killing a globally known billionaire would cause? On the contrary, if you let me go, I'm willing to offer my wealth, no matter how much. Francis didn't want to die. With a net worth exceeding $2 trillion, how could he willingly die here? Rest assured, we'll find the Isaga you mentioned too, but you won't see that day. Miao Luan sneered again. Since when did being the fourth richest in the world matter? Their Jeka group specialized in commercial warfare. Someone, take him away and make sure he doesn't have an easy end. As soon as Miao Luan finished speaking, a genetic warrior stepped forward, seized Francis, and tied him to a cross, just like the crucifixion of Jesus. Another genetic warrior approached, holding a dagger. The cold light sliced through the air, and instantly a piece of flesh fell. Second cut, third cut, fourth cut. The skills of the genetic warriors were excellent, like slicing roast duck. It was the most barbaric ancient punishment in Hua country, known as death by 1,000 cuts, making Francis suffer this torture bit by bit. Screams echoed in the air as Francis's face twisted, muscles tensed, and he let out blood-curdling wails of agony. As the cuts increased, Francis was drenched in blood, his eyes filled with terror and despair, his voice hoarse, the sound squeezed from his throat swallowed by the suffocating air. At this moment, he felt that death would be a gift, truly worse than death. Not only Francis, but all the Thai elite who once participated in resisting the Jeka group were pulled out, each set to enjoy the tortures thoughtfully prepared by the Jeka group. The cries and wails shrouded the earth, the Jeka group's revenge causing these Thai elite to finally feel fear and regret. But waking up now was too late. Everyone had to pay the price for their actions. For the Jeka group, this was just the beginning, and it wasn't only the Thai elite. The Thai country as an entity would also receive attention from the Jeka group, as they had displeased the great President Su. When the Jeka group began the reckoning with the Thai elite, everything happening within the Thai kingdom seemed to sweep across every corner of the globe like a nuclear explosion. Shock! Jeka group officially goes to war with Thai kingdom. Air Force attacks Taewei City in Thai, causing many casualties among soldiers and innocent civilians. In the name of antivirus, a terrifying war unfolds. The Thai government has urgently issued a statement, asserting that Jeka group is enforcing its hegemony by oppressing other countries, and the Thai kingdom, will never bow to Jeka group and are determined to drive this evil wolf out of their land. Meanwhile, Jeka group's unjust actions will certainly face backlash. Military experts from the Great British Empire disclosed that Jeka group used a new type of stealth bomber, which was the culprit for the fall of Taewei City. A squadron of bombers, a team of genetic warriors, and a team of Spider main battle mecha seized the capital of a nation, showcasing Jeka group's formidable military might, possibly indicating the future trends of warfare. Did Taewei City really have those mutant zombies? I doubt it. Even if there were, the casualties caused by the mutant zombies are probably less than 1% of those caused by Jeka group's initiated war. Isn't this just a deliberate act of revenge? Without exception, global media outlets splashed headlines of the fall of Taewei City across their front pages. Especially those Western media controlled by the Thai kingdom used sensational titles, nearly portraying Jeka group as the enemy of all humanity. Countries around the world were startled by Jeka group's sudden assault. Many countries thought Jeka group would, as usual, send out genetic warriors for assassinations, considering the Thai kingdom had no connection with the South Alliance led by Jeka group, which was 500 to 600 kilometers away. But Jeka group's action shattered many people's predictions. On August 2nd, Jeka group declared war on the Thai kingdom, and by 10 a.m. on August 3rd, Jeka group, through a long-distance raid spanning thousands of kilometers, waged war against the Yutai kingdom thousands of kilometers away. Through air raids and bombings, they destroyed a large part of the Yutai kingdom's military forces, and through airstrikes and airdrops, relying on a small number of elite genetic warriors, they captured the capital, Teiwei City, in one fell swoop. This ability for rapid actions and ultra-long-distance operations amazed a large group of countries around the world. No country can achieve such war outcomes as Jekka Group, not even the beautiful country, which needs to assemble a large amount of material in advance for warfare, and simply mobilizing troops and deploying them takes a significant amount of time. Let alone occupying a heavily guarded capital of another country with almost zero casualties in a single day. Only genetic warriors with extremely strong individual combat ability could achieve this. Ordinary paratroopers' descent does not come close to having such power and mobility. The occupation of Teiwei City had an immense impact on countries around the world. After all, the Yutai had been arrogant for so many years and were hit so severely for the first time. The beautiful country President Jesmin was the first to step forward to criticize Jekka Group's atrocities. Jekka Group's actions are a complete butcher's behavior. They have completely ignored the dignity and safety of Yutai Kingdom, wantonly bombed civilians, and threatened the human rights and free will of the whole world. If Jekka Group does not immediately cease and withdraw its troops, we will take action to stop this invasion. The rapid fall of Teiwei City somewhat unsettled the beautiful country. The beautiful country obviously did not expect Jekka Group to act so efficiently. Though they did not intend to go to war with Jekka Group, they also did not want their years of investment in the Middle East to be destroyed directly. However, beautiful country President Jesmin adopted a very high stance and began actively gathering troops, hastily providing material support to Yutai Kingdom. But ultimately, even with the beautiful country in a fluster, they did not immediately decide to participate in the war. Especially without knowing exactly about Jekka Group's unknown bombers. Recklessly sending a carrier strike group there might lead to them being bombed and sunk, because beautiful country also fears Jekka Group's boldness. As the Blue Star Dominator, akin to a wealthy person, confronting Jekka Group, a daredevil who risks everything. Unless necessary, a wealthy person would not fight to the death with them, because the other is genuinely willing to risk everything to mutually destroy you. Ceramic does not collide with tiles. This is the thought of most people in the beautiful country's high leadership now. If they really start a war with Jekka Group, win or lose, other adversaries of the beautiful country would laugh off. Not to mention the beautiful country, the protector of the Yutai Kingdom, now faces a dilemma of whether to dispatch troops due to Jekka Group's precise and efficient actions. Speaking of the neighboring countries around Yutai Kingdom, they were even more filled with excitement and euphoria. These countries have basically fought wars with the Yutai Kingdom and lost. Add to that a series of unpopular actions by the Yutai Kingdom in the region, which led to always tense and hostile relations with its neighboring countries. Now hearing that the Yutai Kingdom has been beaten by Jekka Group, many citizens of the neighboring countries were beating gongs and drums, setting off firecrackers, and celebrating on the streets with excitement. In their view, Jekka Group's actions have undoubtedly vented their frustrations strongly. They had long wanted to do so, but unfortunately, due to the power gap, they were helpless against the Yutai Kingdom. Now that the Yutai Kingdom has provoked Jekka Group, citizens of the neighboring countries are gloating, hoping for a harsher beating of the Yutai Kingdom. However, there are countries that are not content to just be onlookers. Sand City. This is the largest city area of Ba country in the Sand region, with a population of over 2 million, primarily composed of Ba people and Arabs. This city has extensive borders with the Yutai Kingdom and is only a little over 50 kilometers away from the southern suburbs of the Yutai Kingdom's Teiwei City. And Ba country is one of Yutai Kingdom's mortal enemies, with a relationship history akin to that between Hua country and Japan during World War II, characterized by irreconcilable animosity. At this time in Sand City, Jekka Group Intelligence Director Xiaomeng appeared and met a force, the leader of the Faha organization, Ahmed Tushin. Within Ba country, there are organizations and forces of varying sizes, without any strong unified regime, leading to mutual conflicts. Although Ba country generally holds a hostile view of Yutai country, various factions and organizations adopt different strategies towards Yutai country. Some advocate appeasement, others are willing to compromise, appreciating Yutai country's concessions. Among them, the Faha organization led by Tushin is the most fierce against Yutai country, consistently adhering to a principle of retaliating tooth for tooth, refusing any reconciliation, and determined to reclaim their homeland by force. Assalamu alaikum, my friend. Pleased to see you. Tushin walked over, his left calf a prosthetic, movement difficult. Yet he insisted on opening his arms wide, embracing Xiao Meng with the highest ceremony of Ba country. Mr. Tushin, it's only been a week since we last met, yet it feels like reuniting with an old friend. After the hug parted, Xiao Meng spoke with a smile. This is not the first meeting between him and Tushin. After Jekka Group decided to act against Yutai country, he, the intelligence director for Jekka Group, had already come to the Middle East for operations. Tushin, the leader of the Faha force before him, is the result of his actions. This past week has been agonizing for me, every moment yearning for your arrival. Now seeing you and hearing the good news brought by Jekka Group, my heart is almost jumping out of my chest with excitement. Tushin, past his 50s now, glows with excitement that suggests he is not merely engaging in pleasantries. Jekka Group always keeps its promises, so I hope our partners would do the same. We seek followers with firm resolve. Xiao Meng sat down, smiling at Tushin. In the previous meeting with Tushin, Xiao Meng successfully reached an agreement with him. If Jekka Group were to send troops to Yutai country, Faha would unconditionally follow, assisting Jekka Group in fighting against Yutai country. Moreover, after reclaiming their homeland, they are willing to follow Jekka Group's lead, join the Dragon coin trade system, and open military ports in the Mediterranean to Jekka Group, among other things. Mr. Xiao, please believe in our resolve. As long as we reclaim our homeland, we are willing to do anything you ask. We've been waiting for this day for too long. On hearing Xiao Meng's words, Tushin excitedly stood up from his seat. Xiao Meng spoke. Are you truly determined? You might face considerable casualties or criticism from all of Western society. Upon hearing this, Tushin pointed to his prosthetic leg with eyes full of fervor. Mr. Xiao Meng, this leg was lost to Yutai soldiers. At that time, the city we lived in was long blockaded by Yutai country, akin to an open-air prison. Many children died because of it. The people barely survived, drinking dirty water, catching rats and cockroaches, enduring under bombing. I, Tushin, was once a child among them. Thankfully, I survived to this day, but many children my age perished at the hands of Yutai country. From a young age, I vowed to keep fighting Yutai country each day I live. You can doubt my other motives, but never my determination to fight Yutai country to the end. It's not just me. All the warriors of Faha have long cast aside concerns of life and death, ready to shed blood and make sacrifices for the future of our children and the return of our homeland. As for Western society, I've seen through their hypocrisy. They're concerned with human rights only when it pertains to Westerners, to Yutai, not to us Ba people. What is criticism to me? I'm not afraid of death. Tushin spoke at length due to his excitement. Mr. Tushin, it seems we will become the closest partners. When are you ready to dispatch your troops? Xiao Meng finally nodded, revealing a satisfied smile. Supporting a force to do the dirty work for Jekka Group in Yutai country has long been settled. Jekka Group has no need for the land of Yutai country. Traveling thousands of miles to occupy it is out of question. Well before the war began, Jekka Group had already planned for the aftermath. Undoubtedly, supporting a proxy to help manage and control Yutai country, bearing the responsibility for Jekka Group's actions, is a wise choice. Anytime, our warriors are ready to set forth against Yutai country. Tushin's eyes brightened, his entire being trembling with excitement. Years of war had taught him that relying solely on their own strength to reclaim their homeland was wishful thinking. Now, with Jekka Group at war with Yutai country, following Jekka Group's lead and serving as the vanguard may be his only chance to reclaim his homeland in his lifetime. Then let's proceed now. Time is of the essence. Your vanguard should first go to Taiwei City, where order needs to be maintained. Xiao Meng immediately said, Taiwei City now only has a few genetic warriors, lacking sufficient personnel to manage, just needing cannon fodder for assistance. All right, I'll give the order now. Tushin agreed without hesitation, then hesitated slightly. Mr. Xiaomeng, I fear our warriors of Faha might lose control of their urge for vengeance upon reaching Teiwei City. They've accumulated too much resentment and hatred. Hopefully, Jekka Group can understand. Xiaomeng chuckled gently, addressing Tushin casually. Feel free to do so. Our President Su has said that dead squid is the best squid. President Su is wise. A bright smile appeared on Tushin's lips, his excitement palpable. Although he hasn't yet met with Su Jie, he has already idolized him. With Tushin's orders being passed down, Ba country's Faha forces began to mobilize, advancing towards Yu Tai country's Teiwei City, returning to their long-lost homeland. While Yu Tai country's army was entirely distracted by Jekka Group, they paid no attention nor had the time to deal with Faha, this subordinate defeated force's actions. On the rough sandy roads, a travel-worn army is advancing. No mighty tanks, swift armored vehicles, no Air Force protection accompanying, nor any integrated ground-air information reconnaissance. Within this advancing army are dilapidated small trucks and pickups, or motorcycles weaving through the formation. Trucks and pickups are crowded with soldiers, packed full with only basic rifles and rocket launchers as weapons. The equipment is extremely rudimentary, with no trace of any sophisticated individual combat equipment or heavy weapons. This army, looking particularly primitive in today's 21st century, is a force sent by the Faha organization to Teiwei City, following the Jekka Group into battle, numbering over 5,000. Given this unit's equipment, driving on rugged, worn-out roads, if Sand City weren't only 50 to 60 kilometers from Teiwei City, they wouldn't be capable of long-distance raid operations. Midway, the vehicles would mostly break down. In the middle, a relatively intact jeep with military green paint is carrying the leader of the Faha force, Tushin, and the Jekka Group intelligence director, Xiaomeng. General, we're about 20 kilometers from reaching Teiwei City. The radio transmits a subordinate's report, invigorating Tushin, who commands, pass the order down. Keep advancing the troops. We must arrive at Teiwei City by 3 o'clock this afternoon. We need to go there to help the Jekka Group clear out the zombie virus. The time cannot be delayed. Understood, General. Our troops are orderly, and will definitely arrive on time. After a few words of conversation, Tushin turns to Xiaomeng, saying, Mr. Xiao will reach Teiwei City before 3 o'clock this afternoon. Once we've secured our footing there, more Faha troops will follow, penetrating deep into Yu Tai country's territory. Oh, your Faha's numbers are only about 10,000. Can you allocate that much manpower? Xiaomeng raises an eyebrow, somewhat surprised at this. Though Faha only has more than 10,000 regular troops, the potential militia numbers are endless. Our definition of a soldier is simply one who can bear an infantry rifle, and that counts as a qualified soldier. Tushin clenches his fist, eyes resentful. Over the years, Yu Tai country has caused countless disasters and tragedies in our country. The multitude of citizens hating Yu Tai country is endless. Every citizen is a source of soldiers for us, inexhaustible. Once the people of Ba country see the achievements we've gained in Yu Tai country, new recruits to Faha will flow continuously. I have this confidence. What we lack are weapons, ammunition, and food, or else the number of soldiers could effortlessly reach 100,000. Xiaomeng is silent, for in the Middle East, the land has long been a place of chicken pecking at each other, whereas soldiers in other countries require strict training, possessing a certain level of tactical skills or proficiency in handling advanced equipment. However, in many war-torn regions, soldiers have neither the time nor the money for training. Often, a 10 days to half-month training teaches simple loading, aiming, shooting, and instinctive running, and such counts as a qualified soldier to be dragged to the battlefield for combat. Such soldiers, in a real large-scale war, are just cannon fodder with worrying survival rates on the battlefield. Yet, in the low-intensity warfare here in the Middle East, such soldiers are sufficient. Even Yu Tai country is merely choosing the best among the short. Besides purchasing advanced equipment from the beautiful country, their soldiers' tactical proficiency is also mediocre, lacking adequate tactical expertise. Globally, or rather, except for a few countries using World War II Germany soldiers' combat skills as a standard, over the decades, soldiers from most countries are now inferior to the German soldiers' level from decades ago. I see. Then I look forward to Faha's performance. As for weapons and food, our JECA group can provide interest-free loans to Faha, allowing you to purchase our South Alliance's standard equipment at cost price and help transport it to your hands. Xiaomeng smiles, making a guarantee some light weapons and ammunition for them, not to mention the number for 10,000 people. Even for 1 million, it's just a drop in the ocean for the South Alliance behemoth. Not to mention, during the occupation of Southeast Asia and those island countries by the JECA group, countless weapons captured from the collapsing army prisoners fill unknown numbers of warehouses. After the South Alliance's establishment, it let member countries under the South Alliance update weapons using the JECA group standard, unifying weapon calibers and ammunition to reduce logistical pressure, and the replaced weapons are in staggering quantities. Indeed, that would be wonderful. Tushin's eyes shine, for the Faha force has long accustomed to poverty, and it's a joy to encounter the wealthy JECA group willing to provide weapons. Just some minor weapons and equipment. As long as your Faha diligently works for our JECA group, these are trivial matters. Xiaomeng offers the reassurance. Their JECA group won't hesitate to support obedient subordinates, as long as they show enough value. Tushin is pleased beyond measure, ready to speak, but sees Xiaomeng pressing his earpiece. Then his face turns serious. What's wrong? Tushin is perplexed, not knowing why Xiaomeng's expression suddenly changed. A Yutai Country unit has been spotted ahead, Yutai Country's 14th Infantry Brigade. They've already discovered your movement and are rushing this way. Xiaomeng spoke. JECA Group satellite is operating overhead and has captured the movements of this Yutai Country's 14th Infantry Brigade. It's actually a reservist unit, composed of militia and retired troops. Although the Yutai Country's population is not large, and the regular army numbers over 100,000, the scale of its reservists is quite massive. Among them, the Army reservists amount to 400,000, the Navy reservists to 10,000, and the Air Force reservists to 55,000, totaling 465,000. After the outbreak of war initiated by the JECA Group, these reservists were naturally mobilized and rushed to aid the capital, Taipei City, from all directions, and the 14th Infantry Brigade before us is one such unit. What? Immediately notify Colonel Sitran to deploy the troops into battle formation right away. Tushin was startled. The intelligence provided by JECA Group was undoubtedly correct, so he hurried to pass on the notification. Soon, the advancing Faha army became somewhat disordered, with many soldiers running around hastily, claiming to set up defensive positions. However, these Faha soldiers clearly lacked large-scale combat experience. Urban guerrilla warfare might be manageable for them, but this large-scale encounter battle was truly challenging. Time waits for no one, and before Faha could prepare for battle, the vanguard of Yutai's 14th Infantry Brigade had already appeared on the horizon. Together with them came the thunderous artillery shelling. Rounds of 155 artillery shells smashed onto the ground, blasting many Faha soldiers into the air, making the scene even more chaotic. Many Faha soldiers already showed signs of fear and dread. The shadow of continuous losses to Yutai Country's forces made many tremble involuntarily upon encountering Yutai's soldiers. Although the 14th Infantry Brigade was hastily organized and numbered less than 3,000, with many soldiers yet to be conscripted and heavy firepower being similarly scarce, possessing only a few light armored vehicles and towed artillery, they were still far stronger than Faha, which couldn't even bring forth a decent armored vehicle. General, we can't hold on any longer. Just a few minutes into the battle, the Faha army appeared to be on the verge of collapse. Even though the casualties were not high, after all, Yutai's 14th Infantry Brigade similarly lacked heavy firepower. The artillery, the god of war, struck a unilateral blow, severely impacting morale. What should we do, Mr. Xiao? Should we temporarily retreat to Sand City for now? Tushin was already drenched in sweat, having lost his composure upon receiving urgent reports from various areas. Don't panic, reinforcements are here. The Air Force has taken action. Xiaomeng held his binoculars, showing no signs of panic on his face. Tushin was taken aback and then heard the buzzing overhead. Dozens of black silhouettes fell like meteors onto the 14th Infantry Brigade's positions. These were 500-kilogram aerial bombs. Boom! 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 In an instant, flames soared high on the 14th Infantry Brigade's positions, accompanied by the scattering of earth and debris. The vegetation turned to ashes under this relentless bombardment, and the intense explosions and shockwaves tore apart one U-Tai soldier after another, sending them flying like rag dolls. The 14th Infantry Brigade's artillery barrage stopped as those cumbersome towed cannons were similarly destroyed under the airstrike. The previously arrogant assault by the 14th Infantry Brigade turned into cries and screams, with corpses shattered by air bombs scattered everywhere, scorched earth and smoke pervading the air, unable to mask the strong scent of blood. Just one wave of air assault caused massive casualties for the 14th Infantry Brigade. The advantage of air supremacy was vividly illustrated at this moment. Tushin stood stunned, eyes blank, alongside numerous Faha soldiers who were equally shocked. In the sky, an aircraft measuring 135 meters in length, with dozens of thin wings fluttering, rounded in shape like a beetle, yet exuding a strong oppressive sensation, flew overhead from 1,000 meters in low altitude. This was undoubtedly the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber. Swish! Under the belly of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, a close-in weapon system rose with 20 barrels, each 30 millimeters in caliber, rotating and unleashing a torrent of hot bullets onto the ground below at a rate of 20,000 rounds per minute, like the Fire God Whip. Under this Fire God Whip, human bodies disintegrated upon contact, and armored vehicles and tanks could not withstand such an assault, becoming iron coffins in the blink of an eye, leaving behind a bloody and flesh-covered death zone. As the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber swooped by, the pilot showcased a maneuver and did not linger, swiftly accelerating to break the sound barrier and continuing on to higher elevations, as low-altitude combat wasn't its forte. However, before ascending, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber deployed a dozen paratroopers, each donning second-generation biological armor and being holy blood genetic warriors. A dozen genetic warriors unfurled membranes like flying squirrels, swooping down like eagles to the ground. At this moment, the U-Tai country's 14th Infantry Brigade had not yet recovered from the Luanyang Airspace Bomber's assault when they saw a dozen 3-meter-tall genetic warriors wearing biological armor and wielding heavy weaponry appearing all over the battlefield. Without any words, bullets served as the best greeting. The genetic warriors, armed with various weapons, launched a massacre on the U-Tai country soldiers in front of them. The battle was completely one-sided. The over 2,000 soldiers had already suffered heavy losses under the air raid, and the remaining defeated soldiers, facing the ferocious, impenetrable genetic warriors, couldn't stand a chance. Perhaps in the world, there are armies that fight to the last soldier, but the U-Tai country's army was definitely not one of them. All the U-Tai country soldiers began to scatter and flee, but in front of the genetic warriors, with I-worms providing reconnaissance and the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber offering real-time battlefield updates, their hopes of escape approached zero. Finally, when the last gunshot ceased, no U-Tai country soldier was left standing on the battlefield. All U-Tai country soldiers turned into gradually cooling corpses, lying in the sand. Standing upright were only the blood-soaked genetic warriors, who, in a flawless victory, without a single casualty, eliminated the 14th Infantry Brigade's U-Tai country soldiers. From the time the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber appeared to the end of the battle, leaving only the genetic warrior standing, it took merely 18 minutes. In 18 minutes, a force of nearly 3,000 U-Tai country troops was completely annihilated without exception, under the combined operation of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber and a dozen genetic warriors. On the other side, more than 5,000 Faha soldiers, as spectators, were already dumbfounded, staring blankly. The 14th Infantry Brigade of the U-Tai country, which had been suppressing them, couldn't even hold out for 20 minutes in front of a single plane from the Jekka group, being cleanly wiped out. This terrifying combat capability was beyond the imagination of the Faha soldiers, and when looking at the approaching genetic warriors, they couldn't help but show expressions of respect and awe, spontaneously making way. The genetic warriors walked step by step to the jeep where Xiao Meng and Tushin were seated. Tushin swallowed hard, looking at the genetic warriors armed with heavy machine guns, heavy flamethrowers, anti-material sniper rifles, and Vulcan cannons. Their armor was still covered in fresh blood, with some even draped with human entrails, the stench making one's nostrils flare, sending chills down the spine. Minister Xiao Meng, I am Situang, the captain of the 4th Battalion of the Steel Camp, here to rendezvous with you. Situang disengaged the biological armor, the armor flowing back like mercury, finally coalescing into a sphere in Situang's hand. So it's Captain Situang. Your exemplary performance in South Korea and against the U-Tai country this time is well known. Xiao Meng reached out to shake hands with Situang. He was well aware of this rising figure, a favorite of President Su, and despite Xiao Meng's higher standing in the Jeka group, he had no intention of acting superior. I am merely doing my duty. Situang glanced at Tushin beside him, nodding slightly. This is Tushin, a general from Faha. Xiao Meng introduced Tushin. We in Faha will always follow the Jeka group into battle. Tushin quickly responded, thoroughly intimidated by the massacre performed by Situang and the genetic warriors he had witnessed. It was his first time seeing genetic warriors in action. Although he had long heard of the formidable reputation of the Jeka group's genetic warriors, actually witnessing them brought an unparalleled sensory shock. Hello, we will join your ranks until we escort you to Taewei City. Situang stated concisely as he, along with a dozen genetic warriors, joined the Faha marching team. Truly astounding. This is a genetic warrior. My heart wouldn't stop pounding, Tushin remarked, watching Situang's retreating figure, finally relaxing his tense heart. Even though the genetic warriors were not targeting him and were his allies, their immense combat power, combined with the innate human fear of powerful and dangerous beings, left him uneasy and awed. Xiao Meng chuckled and shook his head. Mr. Tushin, shouldn't you be even happier the stronger our Jeka group's genetic warriors are? You're right, that's my oversight. Let's continue on, Tushin replied, retracting his gaze, his heart no longer wavering about joining the Jeka group. The scene today was etched into Tushin's memory forever. As long as he held the leadership of the Faha force, he dared not betray the Jeka group. Some Faha soldiers stayed behind to clean the battlefield, collecting the weapons left by the U-Tai country soldiers, while most of the Faha troops continued towards Taewei City. The subsequent journey went without incident, smoothly arriving at Taewei City before 3 p.m. Upon sighting Taewei City, Tushin stood up from the jeep, looking forward to where the impression of a bustling city had long vanished. Taewei City's once bustling and magnificent streets now lay in ruins, filled with dust and remnants. Fragments and rubble littered the streets, the air saturated with the smell of dust and a putrid stench marking the aftermath of death, smelling only of decaying bodies with no one left to recover them. It takes a substantial number of corpses to leave such an odor. The scene became even more harrowing as the Faha troops advanced. The city felt eerily silent, with vast collapsed structures occasionally interspersed with some half-destroyed buildings and residences, still stubbornly standing. The statue that once symbolized the glory of the city and its founding hero is now long gone, leaving only a massive crater with a diameter of more than 10 meters in its original place. There are also a large number of civilians from U-Tai country. Some are clearing the rubble, others are scavenging for food and water, and some are crying over the corpses on the ground. But without exception, when they saw the Faha soldiers, they all gave them hate-filled looks. How many bombs did Jeka group drop? Tushin was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth, amazed by the massive scale of the Jeka group's action. They must have dropped at least 3,000 tons of bombs. The Air Force must have really enjoyed it. What, Mr. Tushin? Do you feel sorry for them? Xiao Meng shrugged, mentioning that 8 Luanyang airspace strategic bombers, each dropping hundreds of tons of bombs on Taewei City, had indeed exceeded 3,000 tons in total. And considering that a 155 howitzer shell weighs about 50 kilograms, this means that Taewei City has been subjected to the equivalent of 60,155 mm howitzer shells. The level of devastation this would inflict on a city is self-evident. Sympathy? No, this is good. This kind of Tei city is exactly what I wanted to see. Tushin smiled at Xiao Meng and said, "When I was young, our Sand City was also in this state of ruins and rubble. These were all the good deeds of Yutai country. Now it's their turn for their capital to become like this. It's all karma. What Yutai country deserves. Pa! Yuba people actually play the lackeys for Jekka Group. Get out of our homeland right now." Amidst the argument, not far away, several people from Yutai country picked up stones and bottles of liquor to hurl at the Faha soldiers. This act was like wildfire, instantly inciting the many hate-filled eyes of the Yutai country people watching them. Attack! Drive away these damn invaders. We should have eradicated these Ba people completely back then. Jekka Group might be out of our reach, but we can still fight Yuba people. Drive them away. One by one, the people of Yutai country angrily began picking up stones and various debris, transferring their hatred of their bombarded home and the humiliation by Jekka Group onto the Faha soldiers. From the Yutai country people's perspective, they couldn't deal with the terrifying warriors of the Jekka Group, but dealing with the defeated Ba people should be a walk in the park. This confidence comes from the numerous defeats suffered by the Ba country military from Yutai country since its founding, as well as the expansion of the Yutai country's territory at the expense of Ba country, so they have always looked down on the Ba people. Even when facing guns, their attitude remains unchanged. "Mr. Tushin, what will you do?" Xiao Meng, seeing this scene, had an amused smile on his face, looking keenly at Tushin. Tushin looked at those Yutai country people picking up stones to throw, including men, women, and some children, all united in their anger against the Faha soldiers. "Mr. Xiao Meng, a scene like this once appeared in Sand City too. But back then, we were the ones throwing the stones, and the Yutai country soldiers would arrest the resisting Ba people regardless of adult or child. Many were arrested and then vanished without a trace, only to be seen again as cold corpses." Tushin looked at the angry crowd of Yutai country people surrounding them. With a cruel glint in his eyes, he slowly said, "Now that roles have changed, and it's our turn to hold the guns while they hold the stones, they dare to act superior, still seeing themselves as the victors. I, Tushin, will teach them to face reality." For Tushin, being bullied both before and after the arrival of Jekka Group would mean Jekka Group's presence was in vain. Thus, faced with the obstruction by Yutai country people, Tushin made a very decisive and cold command. "To all brave Faha warriors, I now order you to shoot anyone who dares to stand in our way, posing a threat to us, whether enemy or civilian." The Faha soldiers, already filled with anger, hearing this command, no longer held back and raised their rifles, aiming at the Yutai country people and opening fire. Bang 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 bang. A barrage of bullets swept through the crowd like reaping wheat. Yutai country people fell in droves. Screams, blood, and death quickly engulfed the street. Kill, kill, kill. The Faha soldiers became more and more excited as they killed, returning the past suffering inflicted by Yutai country people onto themselves with bullets. And the Yutai country people were completely in disarray. Blood was flowing like a river, the street covered with bodies, so crowded that there was nowhere to step. "Run, run. These Ba people are shooting. Executioners, you executioners won't die a good death. Jekka Group, Faha soldiers, you will go to hell. You will definitely go to hell. Don't kill me. Please don't kill me." The Yutai people screamed in despair. It was only now that they were truly afraid and regretting, wishing they had been born with 2 more legs to run faster. The last thing those Yutai country people expected was for the Faha soldiers, these Ba people, to dare to open fire. Although they had subjected Ba people to inhumane persecution and massacre before, when such things happened to themselves, they couldn't accept it at all. Tushin watched the battle scene with satisfaction, sincerely saying to Xiao Meng, "Mr. Xiao, please tell President Su that I will definitely give him a peaceful and worry-free Tei city, to show him my sincerity. I will certainly convey this message." Xiao Meng was also very pleased. Bringing in the Faha soldiers to settle decades-old feuds was more efficient than Jekka Group getting involved themselves. Plus, it avoided dirtying their hands and attracting international condemnation. Tei City. When the Faha army entered this capital of the Yutai country, Spurred by historical grievances, everyone settled their scores and moved about the city carrying out various actions. In the Anlin district, a team of Faha soldiers drove a truck and stormed in with great haste. Due to its location, this area wasn't much affected by the bombings. You could see the complete greening, exquisite tiles, public pool, and sports facilities of this upscale community. At the forefront were two people. One was the officer of this Faha army, and the other was a genetic warrior, although not wearing biological armor. Sornta, get your people moving. Peng Jitu, a steel camp genetic soldier, was now dressed in a suit, with his hands behind his back, speaking calmly. As genetic warriors, they had already dealt with the Tayway City Jewish Country Army, so they were assigned the task of maintaining post-war order, acting as overseers for the Faha soldiers. Mr. Peng, just watch. Sornta nodded repeatedly. He was a captain of Faha, and after agreeing, he immediately led his subordinates, blocking all exits of the community, and personally posted an official notice at the main entrance. To prevent the spread of the zombie virus that could plague the whole world, starting now, the Yutai people within the community must leave their homes to accept our centralized control and unified relocation to avoid unknowingly being infected and causing person-to-person transmission. Infecting the entire community. Looking at the words on the notice, Sornta was very satisfied and turned to see the soldiers around who were already a bit impatient. Smiling. Everyone, I just received a notification that Jekka Group, to reward us for our contributions to human safety, has specially provided us with dragon coins, which converted are as much as 10,000 US dollars for everyone. What? 10,000 US dollars. 10,000 US dollars. I've never seen so much money. That's way too much. Long live Jekka Group. The Faha soldiers widened their eyes in disbelief. 99% of them had never seen so much money in their lives. Ba country has long suffered from the oppression of Yutai country, with constant war, economic collapse, and even difficulty in obtaining food. Many of them earn less than 1,000 US dollars a year. 10,000 US dollars is undoubtedly an astronomical figure for these Faha soldiers. Sornta was not making empty promises. While speaking, he had already arranged for personnel to distribute cash to each soldier on the spot. Moreover, with the presence of the genetic warrior Peng Jitu supervising, no one dared to embezzle, ensuring that Jekka Group's rewards were implemented effectively. Captain, I've only been enlisted for 2 months and haven't made any contribution yet. This money. A new Faha recruit, feeling somewhat embarrassed, felt ashamed to take the money. Sornta instinctively glanced at Peng Jitu, as 10,000 US dollars seemed a lot to him. Even if you've been enlisted for 2 months, you must take 10,000 US dollars. Peng Jitu didn't hesitate for even half a second and directly answered. This is a reward from President Su for the brave soldiers who fearlessly battled the zombie virus on the front lines. You all are the vanguard of humanity against zombies. This money must be taken by everyone, not a cent less. Peng Jitu's voice was firm, and in the eyes of these impoverished Faha soldiers, he almost seemed to radiate holy light. Thank you, Captain, and thank this. This is Mr. Peng from Jekka Group. Thank you, Mr. Peng. I will definitely serve Jekka Group diligently. Loyalty to President Su. The new recruit laughed so hard his molars were exposed, overwhelmed with excitement. Work well, and you'll get more in the future. Peng Jitu patted the new recruit on the shoulder, moving him to tears. One by one, the soldiers received the rewards from Jekka Group, and the atmosphere became more festive than any holiday. Holding real cash in their hands, every Faha soldier was elated, and their morale soared. These Faha soldiers weren't highly educated and didn't understand grand doctrines, but now everyone understood one thing. Following Jekka Group meant having food to eat. With so many as 5,000 Faha soldiers, Jekka Group only spent a little over 5 million US dollars. This kind of reward for the wealthy Jekka Group was just a drop in the bucket, yet it effectively won over their hearts, making these Faha soldiers willing to work for them. Even if they used Faha soldiers as cannon fodder and scapegoats, they couldn't mistreat them. Expecting the horse to run without feeding it is an unethical thing to do, and Jekka Group never engages in such practices. Now that everyone has received their rewards, it's time to get to work. Sornta waved his hand energetically, and the Faha soldiers on the scene responded like a pack of wolves, howling excitedly and leaping towards the community with exceptional efficiency. It's as if these Faha soldiers, who only earned 3,000 a month, suddenly received a bonus of 10,000, and they had to show their loyalty to the big boss. All residents in the community immediately gather in the open area. Disobedience will be deemed as deliberately hiding infection by the zombie virus, and you will face our severe punishment. The loudspeaker's voice echoed above the community, causing many Yutai hiding in their homes to be anxious and uncertain. Most people were unwilling to leave their homes. The Faha soldiers' response was simple and brutal. Soldiers rushed into buildings one by one, violently breaking in. Yuye people inside, come out immediately. I suspect you're carrying the zombie virus. The new recruit, who had been enlisted for just 2 months and received $10,000, shouted in front of a door, and soon there was movement inside. What bullshit zombie virus? You filthy and lowly Ba people, you have no right to be here. We won't go with you. A man's shout came from inside the house, along with the sound of heavy furniture moving, as if the people inside were trying to block the door. Seeing this, the recruit exchanged looks with a few comrades, then decisively picked up a battering ram and smashed it heavily against the door. In no time, the lock mechanism was broken, and they rushed in. A Yutai man blocking the door looked panicked as the recruit kicked him squarely in the chest, sending him flying. Then, rushing forward, he pummeled the man with the butt of his rifle, without giving any chance for explanation, leaving him with a fractured head and bloody injuries, rolling in a heap, screaming. The interior was a typical Jewish family setup, with strong religious decorations everywhere, housing 3 men and 2 women in total. Seeing the recruits injure someone, the Yutai women screamed, while the other 2 men furiously tried to pull the recruit away. Dare to fight back. They might be infected with the zombie virus. Take them down immediately. The recruit raised his head and, before the other teammates reacted, decisively pulled the trigger of his rifle, piercing through the bodies of the 2 Jewish men, killing them on the spot. The 2 Yutai men fell into a pool of blood, eyes wide open, dead but unpeaceful, utterly unprepared for such a deadly outcome. The room fell silent instantly, and the 2 women were dumbfounded with fear. The man on the ground with a broken head curled up into a ball, terrified by the recruit's casual killing. The recruit's 2 comrades saw this and said nothing, instead loudly proclaiming, 2 zombie virus carriers have been eliminated. Sankudi, you did well. The recruit patted his bulging pocket, indicating he had to live up to the bonus from Jekka Group. Not to mention, there was a deep-seated blood feud between the Ba people and the Yutai. Now that there was an opportunity, how could they miss the chance for revenge? Scenes like this were happening constantly in the district. Teams of Faha soldiers stormed into houses, arresting and driving out the Yutai people, imposing strict control on them. Any acts of resistance by the Yutai people were met with iron-blooded suppression from Faha soldiers, with bloody incidents frequently happening in the neighborhood. Every so often, a bruised and battered Yutai person would be dragged out, sometimes followed by gunfire, and a Yutai corpse would be carried out. The various tragedies inflicted by Yutai people on the Ba people over the years were now being met with this inevitable outcome when caught by the Ba people. The entire neighborhood was shrouded in tension, with pleas, pain, and collapse showing on every Yutai face. The Ba people they once looked down upon had now become the masters deciding their fate, making them tremble with fear. To the violence occurring in the neighborhood, Sornta paid absolutely no mind. Not only did he not blame the Faha soldiers who opened fire, he praised them as vanguard heroes cleaning up the zombie virus for the world, preventing its destruction. Peng Jitu naturally turned a blind eye, having no goodwill whatsoever towards the Yutai people. Since they had caused so much trouble for Jekka Group, they had to be prepared for Jekka Group's reckoning. Buildings were emptied one by one, the Yutai people driven to the open area of the district, allowed only to bring a few belongings. Most went out empty-handed, forcibly dragged out, with some even naked. Captain, Everyone in the district is here. Receiving the report, Sornta nodded. Take them all away and escort them to an isolation area for control. Yes. Upon hearing this, the Yutai people present were immediately agitated, but facing the dark gun barrels, they had no way to resist. Those who tried to protest were dragged out by Faha soldiers and fed lead in front of everyone. Escorted by Faha soldiers, these Yutai people could only wear expressions of bitterness and hobble toward the outskirts of Taewei City. Outside the city, fences had been erected with tents inside, extremely rudimentary. On the outskirts, Faha soldiers patrolled, with machine gun posts and floodlights preventing unauthorized departures. The number of Yutai people brought here far exceeded just one district, as Faha soldiers exerted full effort in searches throughout Taewei City, driving thousands of Yutai people here under the suspicion of the zombie virus. Every Yutai person who arrived here felt immense fear, with some shouting, "Concentration camp, this is a concentration camp. These Ba people intend to persecute us." Yet, hearing this, the Faha soldiers could only laugh, as many of them had lived in such places as children, though those were called refugee camps instead of concentration camps. And it was their Yutai country that had forced the Ba people into refugee camps. Life in the refugee camps offered no guarantees, subjected to malicious airstrikes frequently. So many families ended like that, never again seeing the sun of a new day. Many of these Faha soldiers grew up in such an environment, and their hatred for the Yutai people wasn't something that could be easily explained with a few words. Now, it was just the natural rotation of fortune, as now the Yutai people had to experience the conditions of refugees. After Taewei City was occupied by Jeka Group, the Faha army was introduced to maintain order, and soon they had complete control of the city. Especially the Faha soldiers, they had a strong sense of initiative and thoroughly understood the spirit of the supreme leader. Every day, throughout the streets and alleys of Taewei City, Faha soldiers were scouring the area, arresting those who might be carriers of the zombie virus. As for how to make such judgments, because the world currently has a very limited understanding of the zombie virus without effective detection means, the soldiers could only rely on their own judgment. Anyone who avoids Faha soldiers or resists the control of Jeka Group here is definitely a carrier of the zombie virus. Otherwise, why would they run at the sight of soldiers? If they had nothing to hide, why would they resist? Don't they know that Jeka Group is doing this entirely for their benefit? The arrival of the Faha army, at the risk of infection by the zombie virus, is solely to ensure that the world is not affected by the zombie virus. As for those absurd claims that the deaths of Yutai country people at the hands of Jeka Group and Faha soldiers are more than 10 times those caused by the zombie virus, that is completely nonsensical. It is a necessary action to eliminate the pathogen in order to prevent the spread of infection. Those who dare protest the rules directly cause the Faha army to mobilize, integrating with those of Yutai bloodline, aggressively capturing them, and taking them back to the isolation area for educational and virus inspections. West Han Isolation Camp. This is one of the zombie virus isolation camps located in Taewei City, where approximately 50,000 people of Yutai descent are again isolated. At this time, a convoy marked with a red cross arrived at the gates of the West Han Isolation Camp. A Western European blonde, blue-eyed woman got off the vehicle and showed her credentials to the gate guard. "I am World Health Organization virology expert Daphne Fletcher, and this is our medical team, in collaboration with doctors and nurses from the International Red Cross, here to study the zombie virus, hoping to solve the Yutai country's zombie virus crisis quickly and develop the appropriate vaccine." Daphne looked at the guarding Faha soldiers and the heavily guarded environment. It was more reminiscent of a large prison than an isolation camp. "Sorry, I haven't received any notification." The guarding Faha soldiers were dismissive, showing no intention of letting anyone inside. "You must be carrying out genetic persecution inside. Guilty as charged." A man jumped out, unable to hold back from accusing them. His name is Ziming Miles, a great British Empire citizen, a virology and vaccine development expert, with a quarter of Yutai bloodline. "Ziming, don't provoke them." Seeing the Faha soldiers' gaze turning dangerous, Daphne hurriedly interrupted her colleague's words. "You have been executing isolation for a week. Jekka Group openly claimed that the zombie virus is under control and welcomed global supervision. If even we from the World Health Organization are not welcome, I seriously doubt the truth in Jekka Group's statement. Daphne narrowed her eyes, speaking with conviction. Let them in. At this moment, after receiving the report, the Faha leader Tushin, who happened to be inspecting here, stepped out, glanced at the Red Cross team, and did not continue to hinder their entrance. Mr. Tushin, thank you for your understanding. Daphne looked at Tushin. She had done her homework before coming and knew his identity. It is all for the safety of humanity. The sooner we eradicate the zombie virus and develop the corresponding vaccine, the sooner we have safety. While there is time, I will give you a tour. Tushin spoke with an insincere smile, then led the virology experts into the West Han isolation camp, preventing them from wandering everywhere and seeing things they shouldn't see. At noon at this time, it was mealtime in the isolation camp, as people of Yutai bloodline lined up in long queues to receive their meals. These people of Yutai bloodline looked very desolate, wearing uniform blue patient attire, with extremely haggard looks. Mr. Tushin, are they eating this? Is this fit for human consumption? Daphne covered her mouth after seeing the food. Old rotten potatoes turned into mash, disgusting and sticky lymph meat, yellowing rotten vegetable leaves, flies buzzing around, and in her view, the food was nearly inedible for humans. We are facing material difficulties right now, so the treatment is slightly lacking. There's nothing unfit here. I used to eat cockroaches and rats when I was young. Tushin dismissed it, thinking it was still a bargain for these people of Yutai bloodline. At the scene, after the arrival of Daphne's Red Cross team, those in line of Yutai bloodline frequently looked over. Finally, some couldn't bear it and rushed over, causing many to break from the line and run toward Daphne and her team. You are from the Red Cross. Save me. Quickly save me out. Sob sob, these brutes, our husbands were killed by them. They are devils. I didn't catch any zombie virus at all. I just threw a rock at one of their military trucks, and they dragged me in. The Yutai that rushed out were as if they'd seen a savior, charging towards Daphne and others with extreme excitement, seeking her protection. At first glance, they really looked like zombies on the loose, startling Daphne and the other medical experts. However, in the next second, with the sound of a whistle, Faha soldiers maintaining order, baton in hand, moved with swift actions. Daphne was frightened pale. The fastest runner was a Yutai man, only a few meters away from her. Save me. I want a report. The fastest running Yutai man didn't even finish speaking when there was a loud crack. A baton, precise, firm, and ruthless, directly smashed onto the fastest Yutai man's calf, with a faint sound of bones cracking, preventing escape first. The person screamed and fell to the ground, his leg obviously deformed and twisted. A baton had struck it and fractured the bone. Immediately after, the second baton hit him in the mouth to prevent any pleas, shutting all his words back in. His mouth filled with blood, several teeth flying out. It looked too horrible to witness. Several more Faha soldiers gathered around, raining batons down on the person, turning him into a rolling gourd. Not just him. Other Faha soldiers charged into the crowd causing trouble, delivering heavy punches and kicks to those not obeying orders. Batons swung so fast they nearly smoked, creating blurred shadows as they were swung. These Faha soldiers showed no restraint, every swing with full force. The scene was suddenly filled with howls and screams from the Yutai, and in a moment order was restored. These Faha soldiers, at this moment, truly carried out enforcement with warmth, swung their batons with strength, punched with precision, and kicked with speed, highly efficient indeed. Even those Yutai who hadn't yet acted suffered collateral beating, caught by the Faha soldiers, and were given a hefty beating, rolling all over the ground. Officer, don't hit me. I'm a good citizen. I'm a good citizen. I dare not anymore. I won't run wildly again. The Yutai pleaded one after another. After receiving re-education, they soon calmed down. This scene left Daphne and the others stunned. Mr. Tushin, is this how you manage the isolation camp? They are patients, not criminals. No, even if they were criminals, You shouldn't treat them like this. Daphne's chest heaved violently, her face full of disbelief. MS. Daphne, you need to understand, these people showed symptoms of rage due to zombie virus infection. Based on JECA Group's research, this is a preliminary symptom of the zombie virus, often attacking others and speaking nonsense. If not stopped in time, the virus could control their brains, possibly causing complete zombification. We must stop them in time for their own good. Tushin was blatantly lying, leaving Daphne bewildered. Daphne always felt something was wrong, but JECA Group is also a medical authority. In terms of viruses and genetics, no one dared to claim to be above JECA Group's level. Since JECA Group said so, perhaps. What nonsense! Do they really think she's a naive fool? Mr. Tushin, I'm not an idiot. Daphne spoke softly, feeling as if her intelligence was being underestimated. You're committing racial crimes here. Once I leave, I will surely accuse you of your crimes to the United Nations Security Council. Zeming was even more outraged. The scene before him challenging his core beliefs, seeing what his compatriots went through filled him with a shared pain. Tushin glanced at Zeming, saying nothing, just calmly stated, "Let's go, Ms. Daphne." We continue to other places. Passing through the chaotic dining hall, the group came to an open mining area, where a large number of Yutai were working, sweating, and digging minerals. Often, someone couldn't stand the fatigue, sitting down, panting heavily. At this moment, the Faha soldiers acting as supervisors would step forward, waving their baton in greeting, then drag the bruised Yutai away to solitary confinement. The working Yutai had expressionless faces, clearly not the first time this happened, having accepted this reality. Why such harsh labor? Can patients endure such great physical labor? Daphne was astonished again, wondering how these Faha soldiers didn't see the Yutai as people at all. Physical labor can accelerate blood circulation, suppressing the spread of the zombie virus within them. Those who slack off may very well be patients with the virus on the verge of outbreak, hence their decreased stamina and lack of body control. Tushin smiled, providing a perfect answer. Clearly trampling on human rights protections, you. Zeming wanted to speak but was silenced by Daphne covering his mouth. Mr. Tushin, I understand now, please take me to the workplace. I want to start working immediately to solve the zombie virus threat, so we can liberate the Yutai country sooner and let the people here live peacefully again. Daphne forced a smile, realizing that apart from researching the zombie virus vaccine, there were more threats beyond the work itself this time. Daphne settled down in Tayway City, where the JECA Group had allocated a medical laboratory for them. Virologists, doctors, and nurses from the World Health Organization and the International Red Cross could all work here. The blood activity of the zombie virus is decreasing. No, it's impossible to accurately separate the virus in it. The human immune system is collapsing. Try RNA technology. If it doesn't work, switch again. Frequent experiments kept going on, with everyone diligently working to develop a zombie virus vaccine as soon as possible. Daphne lifted her head from the microscope and rubbed her aching neck. How is it? Have you identified the operating mechanism of this zombie virus? Zeming inquired from the side, pointing to a droplet of black-red blood under the microscope glass, which had been extracted from a zombie's body. No clues whatsoever. We've tried many methods, and the only thing we can confirm is that this zombie virus doesn't seem to be a natural occurrence, but rather. Daphne shook her head and didn't continue because Zeming had Yutai bloodline. The current consensus in the international community is that this zombie crisis, which erupted in Yutai's Haifa City, was a result of Yutai's own research mistake and a case of self-inflicted trouble. How could it be that Yutai developed it? They simply don't have the technology. Fine, say they are capable, but how foolish would they be to cause such a dangerous zombie virus leak? This isn't a movie. Zeming understood Daphne's implication, but he was unwilling to believe it. Due to his bloodline, Zeming, a renowned virus expert internationally, often communicated with some medical experts in Yutai and knew many heads of medical institutes. If Yutai were genuinely conducting zombie virus research, he felt he would have heard at least whispers of it, but there were none. So Zeming believes that Yutai was actually a victim in this zombie crisis. Yutai must have been framed and the culprit is Jekka Group. See, they rushed to wage war against Yutai on the third day of the zombie outbreak and are now brutally oppressing the Yutai. Those quarantine camp zones, Daphne, you've seen how they treat the Yutai. They're clearly the concentration camps of the new century, intentionally controlling and eliminating Yutai's population to prepare for annexing this land. Zhe Meng, with agitation, clamored for justice for Yutai. Be cautious with your words. Daphne frowned. Though Zhe Meng's words had some truth, they were also a kind of conspiracy theory. At least the existing evidence indicates the zombie virus originated from Yutai. To speculate the source of the zombie virus on Jekka Group without solid proof is impossible for the World Health Organization to issue such a report, unless there is conclusive evidence. I will find the evidence. Jekka Group definitely has a conspiracy. I plan to use my work opportunity to probe into Jekka Group's matters. Zhe Meng lowered his voice, revealing a bold plan. What, are you out of your mind? Daphne's mouth gaped open, looking at Zhe Meng like he was crazy. This guy thinks he's who, some elite agent? Even if one were an agent, doing such things would be a 9-to-1 chance of dying. Daphne, I need your help. We're friends, aren't we? Zhe Meng looked at Daphne affectionately, finally revealing his intention. You also want to resolve the zombie virus quickly, right? We're fighting for the world's safety. If we truly wronged Jekka Group, we can admit our mistakes and apologize. Zhe Meng extended his hand, seeking Daphne's support. No, I have no such thought. You're truly crazy. We're just virologists, not agents here to steal secrets. That sort of thing isn't within my scope of work, sorry, I refuse. Daphne was appalled. Being Deutsch without Yutai bloodline, she was here purely to research a zombie virus vaccine, fully aware of her capabilities. Though she wanted to know the origin of the zombie virus, find the truth, and formulate a suitable vaccine, she wouldn't risk her life for it, especially for unreliable secret-stealing affairs. Daphne, you really? Zhe Meng wanted to persuade further, but Daphne had already left without looking back. I have other work. I'm leaving. Daphne hastened her departure, not intending to follow Zhe Meng into the pit. Women truly lack courage. Zhe Meng cursed at Daphne's silhouetted departure. Thinking of the tragic plight of his fellow countrymen in the quarantine camp, he secretly resolved to unveil Jekka Group's conspiracy and rescue his compatriots soon. Once evidence of Jekka Group's zombie virus development was obtained, then their military action invading Yutai will be branded as illegal and unjust warfare. Under international public pressure, Jekka Group would have to withdraw their troops, and at that time Yutai would be saved. The more Zhe Meng thought, the more excited he became, feeling like he was the savior of humanity. A strong sense of mission inflating his confidence, akin to the protagonists in movies. Hope the CIA's personnel arrive in time. Zhe Meng thought to himself that he didn't truly want to take action alone. Before coming to Yutai country, the CIA of the beautiful country had already contacted him, hoping he could act as an internal agent, help them infiltrate, and obtain the data on the Jekka Group's deployment of the zombie virus. Zhe Meng agreed without hesitation. With anticipation, Zhe Meng ended his day's work. After work, Zhe Meng and his party boarded the bus returning to their apartment. The bus was driving down the street, but today the streets were very different, with a large number of soldiers imposing a lockdown and standing guard. Buzz buzz. Strange sounds came from above, and Zhe Meng looked up to see dozens of Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers soaring across the sky, heading towards Taipei City Airport. The number was high, with over 20 visible to Zhe Meng. It's those warplanes from the Jekka Group, really big. Gathering so many planes all of a sudden. The Jekka Group must be planning a big move again? The Jekka Group is probably launching a new round of attacks against Yutai country. Sigh. I wonder when this war will end. On the bus, various experts stuck their heads out, observing the spectacular scene in the sky, each discussing fervently. Zhe Meng's expression was grim, and he cursed under his breath. Damn Jekka Group, sooner or later I'll drive you out of here. Make you regret what you did today. The bus drove a bit further before being stopped by Faha soldiers standing guard. There's an army passing through ahead. You need to wait here. The bus was forced to stop in front of a traffic light. Soon, the experts on the bus felt a slight tremor from the ground and then saw a huge military convoy appearing on the road. It was a majestic steel torrent, with Spider main battle mechas, 12 meters high and weighing over 100 tons, marching like a long dragon, their 8 metal legs continuously lifting and dropping on the road. With over 100 Spider main battle mechas advancing together, it was like a huge centipede with countless legs, an awe-inspiring sight. Seeing this mechanical army, combined with the continuous overhead flights of Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers, it became obvious that the Jekka Group had transported this heavy armored force from thousands of kilometers away. This is the Jekka Group's first Mecha Combat Brigade. Recognizing the military flag on the Spider main battle mechas, someone knowledgeable shouted the name of this troop. The Jekka Group had previously publicly announced that they now had 5 mechanical combat brigades. A mechanical combat brigade has a configuration of 134 Spider main battle mechas, along with various numbers of Fly rocket mechas, Scorpion flame sprayer mechas, B air defense mechas, and Flying Locust transport mechas, totaling around 180 mechas. This kind of mechanical combat brigade is enough to make any country's ground forces feel terrified. Even a heavy armored division with hundreds of tanks and thousands of armored vehicles would be nothing more than a tasty snack in front of such a mechanical combat brigade. This is the core strength of the Jekka Group, the ace force that intimidates the entire Southeast Asia. It's no exaggeration to say that such a mechanical combat brigade can push through most countries worldwide. Its formidable reputation is recognized globally as terrifying. Even the beautiful country wouldn't consider relying solely on the army to confront such a mechanical combat brigade. For example, the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade in front, its largest-scale armored battle since World War II was fought by them. On December 28, 2024, the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade successively annihilated the Siam 1st Heavy Armored Division and the 2nd Cavalry Division, wiping out most of Siam's armored forces, destroying 413 tanks, 738 armored vehicles, 52 self-propelled guns and rocket artillery, 1780 various truck carriers, and eliminating over 30,000 Siam soldiers. Lately, the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade was transferred to battle in Temasek, achieving the exaggerated feat of wiping out a country in 2 days, causing Temasek, the Southeast Asia bloc of tough resistance, to fall. Now the Jekka Group has moved this illustrious ace division here, and its intentions are clear. It seems Thai country is doomed. Someone couldn't help but sigh, looking at the machine guns and machine cannons, and the 203mm caliber main guns spread all over the Spider main battle mechas. Even just passing by was terrifying, and imagining their collective fighting was horrifying. Thai country won't become a failed state. Zhe Meng instinctively retorted, his eyes filled with hatred as he looked at the massive mechanical combat brigade, as if looking at the enemy who killed his father. How could it not? With so many Spider mechas, how can Thai country defend against them? Upon hearing this, the expert who spoke earlier sneered. To seize the capital Taewei city of Thai country, the Jekka Group only airdropped less than 10 Spider main battle mechas, along with a small number of genetic warriors, and captured their heavily defended capital. Now an entire mechanical combat brigade army is pressing on them, especially with Thai country's air force being entirely destroyed by the Luanyang Airspace strategic bombers. How can Thai country's ground forces stop this steel flood? Even the beautiful country's armored division couldn't manage. Zhe Meng felt unable to refute, although he believed Thai country's soldiers were strong. Yet he also knew this strength was only apparent in the Middle East. If the opponent was changed to Jekka Group, the Southeast Asian overlord, that strength was clearly insufficient. Involuntarily, the sense of urgency in Zhe Meng's heart grew stronger. He must quickly find the evidence of Jekka Group deploying the zombie virus. Otherwise, Thai country is in grave danger. The 1st Mecha Combat Brigade of the Jekka Group arrives in Thai country, a nation in crisis. When this headline was printed in the New York Times, it instantly attracted countless eyes, sparking endless debate on major global internet platforms. Wardfa, the Jekka Group is serious now. They're set to annihilate Thai country. Thai country brought this upon themselves. Who told them to develop the zombie virus and let it leak? They're playing with the safety of all humanity. The Jekka group has gone too far, setting up quarantine camps in Yutai country, which are essentially concentration camps by another name. Who knows how many innocent people have died at their hands? According to media statistics and reports from war correspondents, the number of Yutai casualties in the war has surpassed 200,000, 20 times the deaths caused by the zombie virus. Why exactly did the Jekka group go to Yutai country? To eradicate the zombie virus or to kill people? Anyone with a brain can see it. People in the quarantine camps live worse than pigs and dogs, not having enough to eat or wear, forced into hard labor, and when they get sick, they can only wait to die. It's truly horrific. Nonsense. Most of these atrocities are committed by the Faha force. Those Faha soldiers are the main culprits causing mass casualties, with the Jekka group merely supervising. Everyone knows the Faha army listens to the Jekka group. The Jekka group, fully aware of the Faha army's hostility towards the Yutai, maliciously brought them in, clearly intending for internal conflict to profit from. In the face of national betrayal and family hatred, nothing the Faha soldiers do is surprising. The Yutai boast about controlling Wall Street and having a grip on global media. They've finally pissed off someone they shouldn't have. Makes me laugh. What a delight. Weren't the Yutai so powerful? Why are they so quiet now? Hurry up and let your beautiful country daddy rescue you. I don't think the beautiful country will dare get involved. A people expelled by ancient Rome, exiled from Egypt, loathed by the emperor, slaughtered by Sisi, defined as heretics by the Pope during the Crusades, compared to disgusting parasites by Martin Luther. Seeing them regarded as enemies by so many countries and notables in history, I am not surprised by their suffering today at all. The online debate was heated, with little optimism for Yutai country's ability to withstand the Jekka group's virus-cleansing war under their righteous banner. A single mecha combat brigade, and Yutai country is powerless. Even if they hastily assemble reservists to boost their numbers to hundreds of thousands, modern warfare no longer relies on sheer numbers. If the Jekka group coordinates their military deployment well, advancing south, they could easily conquer Yutai country, a view held by most of the world's countries, given the vast disparity in strength, unless the beautiful country is willing to intervene. Beautiful country. Black Palace. An emergency meeting was urgently convened here in response to the dire situation in Yutai country. Jesmin, the beautiful country president, frowned deeply, sporting dark circles under his eyes, having not slept soundly for a week. It wasn't that he didn't want to. The situation in Yutai country was so intense that any misstep could lead to a nation's demise. Daily, he received urgent calls from business magnates, with Yutai people worldwide desperately trying to drag the beautiful country into the crisis, fearing for the extinction of Yutai country. Let's hear it. What are your thoughts on Yutai country now? Jesmin rubbed his brow, his voice heavy with fatigue. Mr. President, my opinion remains the same as before. Now is not the time to go to war, especially with the Jekka group recently unveiling a heavy strategic bomber, showcasing formidable air combat and bombing capabilities. To rush into war now doesn't give us good odds. Even if we win, the casualties would be extraordinarily high. Judith, the CIA director, was the first to speak, making his stance clear. He opposed intervention now. Harman, what's your take? Jesmin then turned his attention to Harman to hear the Minister of Defense's opinion. My view is that we can't just sit idly by in the beautiful country. Harman's perspective differed from Judith's. He spoke seriously. Mr. President, there's a saying that goes like this. When they came for the Yutai, I stayed silent because I'm not Yutai. When they came for the Protestants, I stayed silent because I'm Catholic. When they came for me, there was no one left to speak for me. This is so akin to our beautiful country's current situation. The Jekka group attacked Southeast Asia, and we stepped back. Later, Jekka group dug canals, occupying sea route choke points between East and West, and swallowed all of Southeast Asia, and we endured again. Now, with the Jekka group already meddling in our core interests, bossing around in the Middle East, if Yutai country is destroyed, who will be next? Do we wait until the enemy is in South America, in our beautiful country homeland, before we take action? By then, it would be too late. Our repeated concessions have only emboldened the Jekka group to expand limitlessly, fed by their insatiable appetite. Pure appeasement will eventually backfire on us. When the Jekka group finally invades our homeland, the world won't speak for us. Our allies and partners will all abandon us by then. This is the conclusion I foresee. Harmon's tone was high-spirited and fervent, seething with anger. As he spoke, his gaze was fixed on Judith, appearing as if he'd love to punch the conservative leader in the face. Oh no, Judith is the radical, he is the conservative. Makes sense. Jessamine pondered thoughtfully. Mr. President, just because there's lots of words doesn't mean what he's saying is right. Judith twitched his mouth, explaining, I'm not afraid of Jekka Group. I'm just stating facts and laying out data. Putting aside other matters, can your military handle the new bombers developed by Jekka Group? If your Air Force cannot deal with these bombers, lacking air protection and support, how can we save Yutai country? Yes, we have many troops stationed around Yutai country. But do you want our ground forces to enter Yutai country and clash with Jekka Group's Mechanical Combat Brigade? With all due respect, even if I'm a military idiot, I know that our country's army would get battered by those spider mechas without air superiority and come back crying to their mothers. Coward. The Jekka Group is fighting across thousands of kilometers. Their logistics line is so long. We only need to withstand the first wave of attacks, and they absolutely will lack follow-up power. What you're saying is merely the most optimistic scenario. What if we don't hold on? Once the troops stationed in the countries surrounding Yutai country are severely damaged, our Middle East situation will entirely collapse. Seeing our vulnerability, can you guarantee Jekka Group won't advance further? Wouldn't losing one Yutai country be enough? Do they want to take down other oil-producing countries too, leaving us with nothing? We have aircraft carrier combat groups. How can their Spider main battle mechas go underwater? We can provide fire support from the sea. Our missiles and carrier-based aircraft aren't just for show. What can their Spider main battle mechas do? Do you think Jekka Group's cruiser arsenal ships don't exist? Plus those mysterious stealth bombers, rumored to fly above 50,000 meters. What if they bomb the aircraft carriers? If Jekka Group dares to bomb our carriers, that's declaring all-out war with us, fighting to the death. So for one Yutai country, what benefit do we have from going to all-out war with Jekka Group? Fighting to the finish line with Jekka Group, ending up with mutual destruction, is our country only having this one enemy? Harmon and Judith grew angrier as they argued. Sleeves rolled up, seemingly about to stage a full-on fight in the president's office. Enough. Both of you calm down. Jessamine interrupted their dispute. Looking at the flushed faces and strained necks between them, he sighed helplessly. I understand your points. Now is not the time to go to war with Jekka Group. A cruiser going 1,000 meters deep, a stealth bomber flying tens of thousands of meters, and land-based mechanical combat brigades. Such opponents require us to be cautious. Jessamine ultimately stood by Judith's side, aware that Harmon supports the military-industrial complex, which would gain greater benefits from initiating a war. However, Beautiful Country doesn't have just one financial group. It's easy to start a war, but ending it, as well as understanding the consequences, is not necessarily something Beautiful Country can control. This war with great uncertainty and low odds of victory is one Beautiful Country is reluctant to fight. Mr. President. Harmon still wanted to say something. Moreover, the zombie crisis erupting in Yutai country wasn't their doing, but most likely Jekka Group's handiwork. We can't ascertain how much progress Jekka Group has made in genetics and virology, and whether they possess a more advanced zombie virus. Jessamine continued, which is also what Jessamine worried about most. All-out war could easily spiral out of control, expanding in scale. We have nuclear bombs. But if Jekka Group loses their mind and throws one at our Beautiful Country, we'd all just become the walking undead. Harmon was shocked and said, Are you certain? Wasn't it said that the zombie virus leaked from Haifa National Medical Research Institute? Jessamine shook his head. No, we once promised Yutai country to send troops if they exchanged the zombie virus technology. But Yutai country couldn't produce it no matter what. Yutai country is almost facing its demise. They've confessed everything to us, begging for our intervention. At this point, they have no reason to continue lying. If there truly was zombie virus technology, they wouldn't be hiding it, choosing to perish over handing it over. Harmon was silent. Evidently, this was a point he hadn't considered. Based on the situation with those mutant zombies in Haifa City, should a more advanced virus emerge, expanding the infection range, scenes resembling a Walking Dead scenario may unfold. The Black Palace's seniors are unaware that the so-called zombie virus originated from Su Jie's holy blood, which requires spirit stone and resources to create. It's not something Su Jie would casually throw around for amusement. Moreover, Blue Star is Su Jie's home. Who would be so foolish to recklessly spread poison in their own home? That would be idiotic. Who will provide resources then? Jesmond looked at Judith, speaking earnestly. Judith, this time it's up to you and the CIA. Didn't you say you prepared an operation to find evidence that Jekka Group deployed zombie virus? As soon as this evidence is uncovered, they'll be condemned worldwide, and Jekka Group will have to withdraw their troops. If they don't, the whole world won't agree. Mr. President, our CIA will do its best. Judith nodded heavily, but internally he felt utterly unsure. But up till now, launching a war is impossible. They could only enact minor covert actions, persuading Jekka Group to retreat back home. For just a Yutai, it isn't enough for beautiful country to risk everything fighting Jekka Group to the end. No matter the outcome, beautiful country will lose. The winners will only be other countries watching from the sidelines. As the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade arrived at Tayway City, the Jekka Group's army momentum was growing, already showing signs of mobilizing to launch an attack. And this scene, seen by those with intent, urgently stirred their hearts, couldn't help but start taking action. Medical laboratory, restroom. Zhe Meng secretly took out his phone and called an unknown number. Captain Vim, yes, it's me. Has the action plan been set? I've already found some suspected areas. Can assist with your infiltration. No problem, it's all to save Yutai country. We can't let the Jekka Group continue to persecute us Yutai. After exchanging a few simple words, Zhe Meng was delighted. He would soon meet with the CIA, and with himself as the insider, he would surely find evidence of the Jekka Group producing and releasing the zombie virus. Thinking so, Zhe Meng walked out of the restroom. However, as soon as he came out, he saw 2 Faha soldiers standing in front of him. You are. Zhe Meng, with a guilty conscience, felt his heart racing. The 2 Faha soldiers exchanged a glance as if confirming they hadn't mistaken the person, and without further ado, grabbed Zhe Meng's arms from the left and right, sealing his mouth. Zhe Meng was terrified and began to struggle with all his might. But his frail body was no match for the 2 soldiers, and soon his hands and feet were bound, tying him up to a van outside the laboratory. What are you doing? Help, help! Zhe Meng shouted in terror, but the area had long been cleared. No one could save him even if he screamed his throat hoarse. The 2 Faha soldiers sneered, taking turns punching and kicking, making Zhe Meng's face bloom like peach blossoms. As a virology expert accustomed to a privileged life, the soldier's rough handling was unbearable, making him scream repeatedly and curl up in the van. Stop hitting, officer, stop. I'll confess everything. It was the CIA who made me do it. If you need to find someone, find the CIA. Unable to withstand the pain, Zhe Meng sobbed loudly, thinking his cover was blown, decided to come clean. CIA? What CIA? Wait, are you a spy? The 2 Faha soldiers were stunned. They responded to a tip-off indicating someone often spoke up for Yutai, prompting them to pay a visit and give this person a good thrashing. In fact, the informant was some colleagues within the World Health Organization who couldn't stand Zhe Meng's reckless speeches due to his Yutai bloodline. So they secretly informed the Faha soldiers. Upon hearing Zhe Meng's sympathies towards Yutai, the Faha soldiers decided to teach him a lesson, but unexpectedly stumbled upon a delightful surprise. However, sometimes history is so coincidental, novels need logic, but reality does not. Speak. Tell us everything you know. The 2 Faha soldiers were ecstatic. If they could catch a spy, it would surely be a great credit, earning promotions and raises from Jekka Group in no time. You aren't here for the CIA? I didn't say anything. I was just spouting nonsense earlier. I know nothing about the CIA. Zhe Meng seemed to realize the misunderstanding, and his heart sank to the depths. If you won't talk, let's see how tough you really are. The two Faha soldiers sneered, and soon Zhe Meng's screams filled the van again. More than half an hour later, after extracting all the information, the two Faha soldiers drove the van, taking the near-dead Zhe Meng to the Jekka Group's military camp to claim credit. As expected, their report received swift attention due to the important CIA intel, with Jekka Group rewarding them satisfactorily. As for Zhe Meng, in the hands of Jekka Group, he would learn the true meaning of a fate worse than death. Night. In the deep waters of the Mediterranean Sea, a large black fish was quietly navigating beneath the surface. Though this black fish was quite large, weighing a full 18,000 tons. Its name was the Florida-class Strategic Missile Nuclear Submarine, a fourth-generation strategic missile submarine of the beautiful country, part of the Ohio class, powered by an S-8G reactor, with an underwater speed of 25 knots, a maximum diving depth exceeding 240 meters, equipped with 24 Trident II submarine-launched ballistic missiles and 4 533mm torpedo tubes. This is beautiful country's ace under the deep sea. Its ballistic missiles can carry nuclear warheads, serving as a strategic deterrent. Currently, there are 22 Ohio-class strategic missile nuclear submarines in the beautiful country, which gradually entered service in the 1980s. However, the earlier ones, due to hull aging, could no longer bear the task of strategic nuclear deterrent patrols. Hence, beautiful country transformed them into cruise missile nuclear submarines equipped with conventional guided missiles. Such a nuclear submarine can carry up to 100 battle axe cruise missiles and can also accommodate a maximum of 2 Special Forces delivery systems, transporting Special Operations Forces, capable of a single trip carrying 66 special soldiers to execute top-secret missions. It must be said that beautiful country is lavish, directly using 4 precious nuclear submarines to carry cruise missiles, using an 18,000-ton nuclear submarine to transport Special Operations Forces, executing conventional strikes and special operations. The Florida-class Strategic Missile Nuclear Submarine is such a modified nuclear submarine that doesn't partake in conventional military deployments, but is instead specifically used to carry out critical covert missions. At this moment, the time has already reached the early hours of the morning, and the surface of the Mediterranean is quiet, with only slight waves undulating. Captain Flack Leonard of the Florida nuclear submarine looked at the time and calmly issued orders. Arrived at the target location, deploy the Special Forces and CIA personnel. Yes. In the specially designed decompression chamber of the submarine, 40 SEAL assault team soldiers from the beautiful country, along with 5 CIA members who have undergone special training, were fully equipped for underwater combat, ready and waiting. As the watertight doors leading into the submarine opened one by one, the chamber began to fill with seawater. Once the chamber was filled with water and the pressure inside balanced with that outside the submarine, the fully armed special soldiers of the SEAL assault team, wearing masks, flippers, rubber suits, and oxygen tanks, opened the hatch, left the submarine, and began swimming towards the coast with large flippers propelling their feet. The temperature of the Mediterranean waters is a few degrees lower than the Atlantic, putting a significant test on the endurance of the moving special forces. If it weren't for the fact that the personnel performing the mission were all carefully selected soldiers, many would likely not have enough strength to swim to the shore within the scheduled time. When they all swam to the shore, many were already drenched in sweat and exhausted. Safe. The team leader of the SEAL assault team, Gars Hunter, was the first to survey the surrounding environment. The shoreline was very quiet in the deep night, with only the sound of the sea breeze blowing and waves lapping against the beach, allowing him to breathe a little easier. Taking out a wireless communication device, Gars reported the status to the Florida nuclear submarine. Swimming group frequency accessed. The swimming group has successfully landed, and we continue to cruise offshore, awaiting pickup. Report surroundings. Maintain vigilance. Captain Flack constantly issued orders, maintaining a high level of alertness. After all, they were facing the Jekka Group, and missions related to them always bore the highest risks and mortality rates. As the SEAL assault team slightly recovered their strength on the shore, changed clothes and equipment, and moved inland, On the Florida nuclear submarine, a sonar operator suddenly furrowed his brow, his expression becoming solemn as he captured unusual sounds. Vessel. Bearing 170 moving. The sonar operator promptly spoke up to alert the captain. What type of vessel? Escort ship, merchant ship, or fishing boat? Captain Flack quickly walked to the sonar operator's side, asking repeatedly. The sonar operator, wearing headphones, continued to listen to the subtle oscillations captured by the passive sonar in the sea. The submarine soldiers on the Florida were also becoming somewhat tense. Although intelligence suggested that the JECA group hadn't deployed any warships in the Mediterranean, their cutting-edge technology was ever popular, so who knew if they had secretly built a warship and slipped into the Mediterranean. Cavitation effect, propeller speed 103, four-bladed propeller. It's the Chicken Country's escort ship, Gaziantep. This announcement from the sonar operator prompted everyone on the scene to collectively breathe out a sigh of relief, their tense expressions relaxing. So it was just the Chicken's escort ship. Gave me a scare. Many people patted their chests, showing a mixture of expressions as they found amusement in their own overly tense conduct. But just when everyone was letting down their guard, the sonar operator's expression suddenly changed drastically, alarming him to stand up with a shout. Not good. There's a splash. Bearing 391. Possibly a sonar buoy dropped by an anti-submarine helicopter. Splish splash. A scene of panic erupted, with everyone's faces turning pale. The greatest strength of a submarine lies in its stealth, and its greatest fear is being detected by the enemy. Once a submarine is discovered, it becomes almost like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, only able to dodge and hide. Flack's facial muscles twitched as he issued a stern order. Enter ultra-silent mode. Maintain radio silence. All soldiers to combat stations. Submarine reverse 4. Reduce speed to 3 knots. Continue diving 100 meters. On the Florida nuclear submarine, the submariners began to run, quickly donning life jackets, and heading to their respective posts. Sonar surge. They're searching for our position. The sonar operator reported again, as sweat drenched everyone on the nuclear submarine, all hoping the submarine could evade sonar detection. The JECA group, it must be the JECA group, our plan has been leaked. Flack's face was ghastly as he realized they had just arrived, and the JECA group's anti-submarine helicopter had already come looking for them. Clearly a trap set specifically for them. Flack didn't know that the sonar buoys weren't dropped by an anti-submarine helicopter, but by a Lwanyang Airspace strategic bomber. In the pitch-black night, the Lwanyang Airspace strategic bomber streaked across the sky, flying low over the Mediterranean, stirring the sea waves into a fury with the wild wind. Meanwhile, on the coast, the SEAL assault team had just reassembled their gear and walked less than a kilometer. The eyes of the leading SEAL assault team soldiers suddenly hurt, feeling blinded by a dazzling white light. A searchlight beam shone directly on the SEAL assault team soldier. The intense light not only made it impossible for him to open his eyes, but also exposed all his teammates around him. Not good, we've been discovered. Prepare for battle. Gars didn't know where the oversight occurred, but he knew they were now definitely in a crisis. The elite SEAL assault team immediately formed a combat formation, but when they looked in the direction of the searchlight source, each and every one of them felt a jolt in their hearts, and deep fear appeared in their eyes. Because that searchlight was mounted on a 12-meter-high, 100-ton Spider main battle mecha. This JECA group's land combat monster faced them, surrounded by densely packed guns and cannon, like a firepower fortress that could make any ground unit feel genuine fear. And that was not all. Heavy footsteps sounded around them. One by one, genetic warriors clad in biological armor, standing 3 meters tall, emerged from the darkness, surrounding the SEAL assault team's special soldiers in the center. SEALs, we've been expecting you. Miao Luan crossed his arms over his chest, gazing coldly down at the SEAL assault team soldiers. Gars looked ashen, and the surrounding SEAL assault team soldiers were full of despair. The SEAL assault team was one of the top 10 special forces globally, renowned worldwide, even reputed to be the world's strongest special forces. But this was before the emergence of genetic warriors. When genetic warriors made their debut, all special soldiers worldwide were divided into two kinds: genetic warriors and other special soldiers. Genetic warriors were undeniably beyond normal human understanding and strength, tearing armored vehicles apart barehanded, walking heavy firepower, invincible defenses, such powerful and ridiculous physical prowess that no other soldiers could hope to match. Whether it was the SEAL Assault Team or the Delta Force, Alpha Force, none were an opponent of the genetic warriors, as they were not on the same level. These SEAL Assault Team soldiers had no will to fight upon seeing the genetic warriors. Some even wanted to escape. Bang! 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 The Spider main battle mecha's upper body rotated, with two 30mm cannons and four 20mm cannons firing thunderously, instantly turning a few fleeing SEAL Assault Team soldiers into minced meat, impossible to piece together. Miao Luan held an anti-material sniper rifle, pulling the trigger. The head of a fleeing SEAL Assault Team soldier exploded like a balloon, with the entire head bursting apart. The headless corpse collapsed to the ground, blood staining the earth red. In just a few seconds, 7 or 8 SEAL Assault Team members were all dead. The overwhelming power gap made these SEAL Assault Team soldiers fully realize the reality. We surrender. Gars gritted his teeth, no longer stubbornly resisting, and dropped his weapon. Seeing this, other SEAL Assault Team members also disarmed, knowing resistance was just needless sacrifice. Although they were special soldiers, they were human too and feared death. Can you tell me how you discovered us? Gars couldn't figure it out. He believed his operation was smooth and concealed. I'm not obliged to tell you. Figure it out yourself. Miao Luan had no intention of revealing anything and instructed his men to escort away these SEAL Assault Team soldiers and CIA elites. Gars felt unwilling, and before being escorted away, he couldn't help but look towards the sea, silently praying that the Florida nuclear submarine would not encounter any trouble. Meanwhile, the Florida nuclear submarine, which Gars prayed for, was also trapped in its final desperate situation. Enemy sonar is correcting our submarine's position. Continue diving to evade. Damn. 250 meters. We've reached the limit depth. Damn. God help us. Everyone in the submarine was sweating, feeling as though time stretched unbearably. Flack's forehead was sweating, staring intently at the screen in front of him, only able to pray for some miraculous luck to let them survive this ordeal. Above 1,000 meters on the sea, the Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber, flying at low speed, eventually pinpointed the submarine's general location through sonar search. The bomb bay under the aircraft opened, and deep water bombs were sequentially dropped into the designated sea area, starting their fish bombing mission. Deep water bombs are underwater weapons that descend to a certain depth in the water and explode. This weapon structure is simple, easy to operate and use. It's a very cheap anti-submarine weapon. But despite being cheap, their lethal power is unquestionable. Because of its simple structure with not too many parts, its explosive is extremely terrifying. A deep water bomb exploded 100 meters away from the Florida nuclear submarine, causing a massive shock wave that violently shook the sea due to water's incompressibility. Even at a distance of over 100 meters, the Florida nuclear submarine was still affected by the shock wave, causing the soldiers inside to stagger in the violent shaking. Some hit their heads badly, others broke bones, but at this moment, no one had the luxury to assist or treat injuries. Boom! 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 More and more deep bombs exploded, shaking the colossal 18,000-ton frame of the Florida nuclear submarine like a canoe in a storm, with explosion impacts causing cracks to appear on the hull. Boom! A deep water bomb detonated just 20 meters behind the Florida. The hundreds of kilograms of explosives inside the deep water bomb released immense energy, blasting the surrounding seawater into an empty cavity that then transferred to the Florida nuclear submarine. Despite being the world's most advanced nuclear submarine weighing 18,000 tons, the Florida couldn't withstand such close-range explosions from a deep water bomb, lacking thick armor for protection. The shock wave tore through the Florida's double-layered hull, sending torrents of seawater flooding into the cabin, ravaging through each compartment. The soldiers were swept away by the incoming water, tossed around brutally, their bones shattered, and due to the extreme water pressure, their internal organs burst out of their mouths. This single deep water bomb left a huge breach in the tail section of the Florida nuclear submarine, snapping a segment of its propeller, thousands of tons of seawater pouring in, threatening to sink the entire vessel. Fortunately, some soldiers managed to seal the submarine's inner doors just in time, keeping the seawater at bay. But under the deep water pressure and the continuous explosion of deep water bombs, they couldn't hold out for long. Surface immediately and send a radio message, "We surrender." Flack's head cracked open from the impact, blood soaking his uniform. Realizing the hopelessness of their situation, he knew their only chance for survival was to surface and surrender to the JECA group, or else face eternal entombment in the cold Mediterranean. Upon hearing the order, the operator ignored his pain, hurriedly using his still functional communications equipment, blurred his hands over the keyboard at unprecedented speed, sending out a distress message in plain code to all surrounding radio signals. After all, they had no idea which communications channel the attackers were using, and if their distress signal went unreceived, the bombing would continue, leading to devastation. This plain code surrender radio signal spread continuously, reaching not just the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, but all the ships in the nearby sea area. Upon receiving the message, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber ceased further deep-water bomb deployment, although sonar buoys were still active, indicating awareness of the submarine's location and urging it to surface promptly and not try to escape stealthily. The Florida couldn't escape anyway, as significant flooding made surfacing for drainage imperative. Otherwise, it would sink without further bombardment. Moments later, the sea surface heaved violently as the Florida nuclear submarine labored its way to the surface. The entire 170-meter-long submarine emerging from the water was a shocking sight, even more so with the massive hole in its tail and the hull riddled with cracks, leaking water and appearing utterly battered. The nearby Chicken Country escort ship Gaziantep, its Navy soldiers, and officers witnessed this scene with wide-eyed disbelief. They hadn't realized such a large submarine was hiding beneath the waters here, puzzled as the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber bombarded the area at low altitude. Not until the Florida was bombed to the surface did they finally understand what the bomber was targeting: an almost 20,000-ton supermassive black fish. The Chicken Country soldiers aboard the Gaziantep shouted in excitement, pulling out their phones to capture the moment they witnessed a beautiful country nuclear submarine surfacing after being bombed. A once-in-a-century sight necessary to document well. It was foreseeable that these photos and videos, once uploaded to the internet, would stir a global uproar. After the Florida surfaced, the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber airdropped a team of genetic soldiers, who landed precisely on the submarine. The genetic warriors violently opened the submarine's hatch, entering directly to capture the beautiful country sailors inside. The recent barrage of deep-water bombs had killed many on board, and those surviving were injured, incapable of resisting the genetic warriors' capture. Soon, the entire submarine was under genetic control, including Flack, who resignedly accepted capture. Now steer the submarine towards Tayway City. The genetic warrior pointed the gun, and Flack could only reluctantly order the submarine to head there. Lucky for them, the Florida submarine held out, crawling at a snail's pace through the flooded compartments to finally reach the port at Tayway City. Unluckily, the submarine suffered such severe damage that repair costs would exceed the cost of building a new one. Overall, the JECA group achieved its objective, striking a heavy blow to the CIA and delivering a resounding slap to the beautiful country. By dawn, the events in the Mediterranean spread rapidly, and when people heard of the Florida nuclear submarine's capture, many initially thought it was fake news. Then, as the news confirmed further, everyone believed the beautiful country might finally take action and join the war in support of Yutai country. However, many onlookers who watched the news couldn't help but mock how the beautiful country bungled this early in conflict. An embarrassing spectacle indeed. Beside the public, the Yutai country government was ecstatic beyond measure. Upon first seeing the report, they too thought the beautiful country was moved by their sincerity, at last ready to rescue them from the disaster created by the JECA group. Within the Yutai country military, previously low morale due to the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade's arrival began to rise again. with every soldier exhilarated, thinking the beautiful country's involvement meant salvation for their nation. Beautiful country, Black Palace. A Black Palace press conference is underway, with President Jesman answering questions from reporters about the Mediterranean incident. Regarding the Florida nuclear submarine being maliciously attacked by the JECA group in the Mediterranean, our Navy soldiers fought bravely, but were outnumbered. To avoid worsening international relations, the Florida nuclear submarine ultimately chose to cease fire and surfaced. Jesman spoke these words without expression, which was already sugarcoating the situation for himself. In fact, he didn't want to attend this press conference since it was such an embarrassing situation. But the issue was so significant. A nuclear submarine weighing 18,000 tons was captured. He had no choice but to personally explain to the entire society. Just as Jesman finished speaking, reporters from all over the world raised their hands eagerly. According to the details released by JECA Group, it was the beautiful country secretly deploying a nuclear submarine into the Mediterranean to transport special forces, intending to engage in covert operations against JECA Group, while showcasing the capture of SEAL assault team soldiers to the media. Mr. President, are you saying that the beautiful country does not admit the captives held by JECA Group are from the SEAL assault team? A reporter stood up, a reporter from the beautiful country itself, directly challenging President Jesman. This might be unusual in other countries, but in the beautiful country, such journalists are quite common. Otherwise, former beautiful country presidents would not have frequently accused some media of fake news. Jesman twitched slightly at the corner of his eye, immediately recognizing the journalist as belonging to a Republican faction, suppressing his anger and saying, "This is slander. Our SEAL assault team soldiers only went to Thai country for some special tasks, and did not target JECA Group, nor did they participate in any war. This is beyond doubt." Although it was obvious to all that the beautiful country intended to stir up trouble with JECA Group, as the president of the beautiful country, Jesman naturally wouldn't admit a single bit of it. Even if everyone knew he was lying, his stance would not change. The Florida nuclear submarine is currently captured by JECA Group at the Tayway City port. According to photos taken by war correspondents, this strategic missile nuclear submarine is severely damaged, almost scrapped. This is a significant asset built with the taxpayers' money of our nation. The Black Palace authorities must be held accountable. The reporter had no intention of letting Jesman off the hook. He was a journalist under the Republican faction, and Jesman was a president elected by the Democratic Party. Seeing the opponent making such a significant mistake, he naturally wanted to take advantage of it. "Indeed, I did not handle this matter well. We will immediately negotiate with JECA Group." Now on to the next reporter. Jesman did not continue to argue, as there was indeed no way to shift the responsibility for this one. "Mr. Jesman, the warship being captured is the first such treatment the beautiful country has received since World War II. JECA Group has attacked the beautiful country so severely, wantonly slaughtering our soldiers. Will the beautiful country officially go to war with JECA Group and strike this instigator of conflict all over?" A reporter from Japan stood up, directly addressing the crux of the matter. The question was whether the beautiful country would formally go to war with JECA Group because of the Florida nuclear submarine incident. Upon hearing this question, the entire audience of reporters focused their attention, as this could very well affect the future course of the world. Even though Thai country has considerable influence, it cannot be considered a major power by territory or national strength. Conversely, if the beautiful country goes to war with JECA Group, the implications would be different. One is a nation rich in resources, almost destined to rule with military bases around the world, possessing the strongest naval and air forces on the globe, also the leader of the Western world, the de facto world dominator. The other, ruling over 600 million people, holds advanced genetic and mecha technology, and has a satellite network established by the Kunping rocket, being an extremely formidable Southeast Asia dominator. If these two countries were to go to war, it wouldn't just involve one or two countries. The S3 season might very well kick off. Faced with this question, Jesman's face stiffened, gesturing. "Regarding whether to go to war with JECA Group, we can only say now, if JECA Group does not return our Florida nuclear submarine, then considering war against JECA Group will be formally brought up in Congress." The dignity of the beautiful country must not be insulted. Many reporters below felt somewhat disappointed on hearing this. Jesmon's statement was clearly not intended for war. Otherwise, the attitude and wording would have been much stronger. Among the reporters, another journalist picked up the microphone excitedly. Mr. President, JECA Group just released news that your Florida nuclear submarine sank at the Tayway City port. Jesmon, the journalist, while speaking, displayed the news video on his phone, which was officially released by JECA Group. The video clearly showed the riddled Florida nuclear submarine floating at the Tayway City port, taking on water everywhere, large bubbles surfacing around it, the submarine uncontrollably sinking to the bottom of the sea. This submarine was blown to such a state by deep water bombs, and having not been repaired after returning to port, it finally could not hold on. The reporter stared intently at Jesmon, saying, Mr. President, it's clear that JECA Group cannot return your Florida nuclear submarine. Can we assume the beautiful country is prepared to go to war with JECA Group? Jesmon felt speechless inside. Why did it sink now of all times? This is putting him on a hot seat. Well, let's put this matter aside for now. We need to study and discuss it thoroughly before making a decision. Jesmon outright denied what he just said. It's impossible to go to war. What does face count for? Politicians don't have such a thing. For a country like Utah, beautiful country is unwilling to involve itself in a state of war with JECA Group. It is not worthwhile for beautiful country. Beautiful country is the beacon of the free world. Is it planning to turn a blind eye to the atrocities of JECA Group in Utah country? Utah country is beautiful country's closest ally and partner. Is beautiful country planning to abandon Utah like it did with those Southeast Asian countries? A journalist with Utah heritage spoke sorrowfully, tears streaming down as if to portray beautiful country as a heartless villain watching idly. The whole international community is condemning JECA Group for the situation in Utah country, but rash warfare will only escalate the situation, which is not conducive to the establishment and maintenance of international relations. It will only bring more war and death to the world. Our beautiful country is the cornerstone of world peace. We won't do things that make the world increasingly dangerous. Jesmon shamelessly proclaimed, the beautiful country that often ignites wars worldwide now becomes the good student facing JECA Group. After answering a few more questions, the press conference ended ahead of schedule, and Jesmon fled in haste. Offstage, Jesmon immediately sought out the Secretary of State, instructing him, go negotiate with JECA Group, get our captives released, and allow us to salvage the Florida nuclear submarine. We can allow them to conduct limited military actions in Utah country. Are we really going to compromise with JECA Group? The Secretary of State felt somewhat unwilling upon hearing the words. This is a necessary measure given that JECA Group's military power is currently too strong. We have to wait for them to weaken. Then it will be our opportunity to act. Being strong temporarily doesn't count as winning. Surviving to the end is what makes a winner. Even the Red Bear was worn down by us in the past, and JECA Group won't be an exception. I understand. Remember, Utah country must be preserved. It cannot be allowed to perish. Jesmon emphasized repeatedly, as long as Utah country doesn't fall, he has an account to give to the Utah people. In any case, Utah's current territory was acquired through conquest after several wars, so conceding a bit is rightfully expected. After all, they poked the hornet's nest with JECA Group, knowing full well that even our beautiful country doesn't wish to mess around with JECA Group, a financial and military powerhouse. The Secretary of State nodded, then asked, but what if JECA Group ignores us and insists on annihilating Utah country? Then, our intentions would have been expressed. What follows is in God's hands. Jesmon shrugged, regarding arrangements for Utah country. One can only do one's best and leave the rest to destiny. After the Florida sank during a mission in the Mediterranean and was captured by JECA Group, it marked the largest military ship loss for beautiful country in the new century. Latest news, Jesmon issued a statement saying that regarding the Florida incident, they wish to consult mutually with JECA Group, unwilling to officially go to war with them at this stage. Utah country faces another change. Its greatest backer, beautiful country, is no longer reliable. Where does Utai's future lie? Jesman is the most cowardly beautiful country president in history. He has utterly disgraced beautiful country's position as Blue Star dominator. In Chan country, in a garden courtyard, Su Jie sat on a chair, flipping through a newspaper with interest. It's really unexpected, even with such a big loss as that submarine beautiful country tolerated. Their Secretary of State contacted us not long ago, expressing their willingness to negotiate, hoping we can allow Utai country to retain nationhood and a part of the territory, leaving another part to the Ba people. Lu Yingying sat nearby, pouring tea for Su Jie, and quietly spoke. The Utai people ultimately cannot decide the true national affairs of beautiful country. Not worth beautiful country to fight desperately for them. Su Jie drank tea, speaking nonchalantly. Let the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade attack. First resolve the armed forces in Utai country. As for the future of Utai, even if our kindness allows them leniency, those ancient rivals the Ba might not accept it. Our Jekka group must respect the local will and cannot go against it. Lu Yingying understood Su Jie's intent, having angered their Jekka group, thinking they can lightly brush it aside. The world doesn't work so conveniently. Ever since the beautiful country opted for selective concessions, turning a blind eye to the Jekka group's operations in Utai country, only providing material support without sending any troops, the Jekka group's activities in Utai country have grown increasingly unscrupulous. Every day, Luanyang airspace strategic bombers travel back and forth between Chan country and Utai country. The Luanyang airspace bomber, with its maximum load capacity, can carry 800 tons of supplies in one trip, accommodating over 1,000 soldiers. Compared to shipping, it boasts unmatched speed and convenience, with the sole drawback being its slightly high cost. Fortunately, with the Jekka Group's deep pockets, earning fortunes worldwide with products like Tianyuan hair growth liquid, Tianyuan myopia pills, Tianyuan slimming pills, Tianyuan whitening liquid, biological batteries, along with territorial taxes, it easily sustains the high-frequency transportation demands of the Luanyang airspace strategic bomber. Troops arrive in Taywei City continuously, and boxes of supplies traverse thousands of kilometers, transferred to Taywei City. The world is astonished by the Jekka Group's formidable resource mobilization and long-distance combat capabilities. For other countries, even for the beautiful country, the world's leading naval power, amassing such a volume of supplies for a 1,000-mile raid is challenging. Before the Gulf War, the beautiful country had prepped for several months. However, the Jekka Group, solely through its air force, accomplished massive transfer of armaments and tens of thousands of personnel in a short time, a feat that 99% of countries globally would struggle to achieve, displaying the Jekka Group's mighty national and military strength. The essence of warfare is logistics. This saying holds true even today. Modern warfare demands higher material needs and logistical capabilities. Nations capable of intense logistical support are all first-class powers. Weak countries simply lack this ability. The Jekka Group's garrison and increased logistical supplies are evident to the whole world. Everyone knows the Jekka Group is preparing for the next major offensive. But knowing is one thing. Even the beautiful country is reluctant to intervene, let alone other Western countries, which dare not wade in, fearing their heads might be smashed by the Jekka Group. As for Utai country, their capabilities are evident. All they can do is exhaust all efforts, mobilize all available forces, even at the cost of conscripting able-bodied men in the streets, distributing various arms and ammunitions. While there are ordinary firearms, getting heavy weapons in place is not so easy, especially regarding the Air Force. Now, the Utai country's Air Force is virtually obliterated, with the Jekka Group's Luanyang airspace strategic bombers patrolling Utai country's airspace daily. Utai country's few remaining aircraft dare not take to the skies for combat. Once airborne, they are quickly shot down. The entire air superiority of Utai country is firmly in the hands of the Jekka Group. September 12, 2030. On this day, the Jekka Group, fully prepared, finally dispatched its army from Taywei City. The combat units deployed are elite, including the 1st Mechanized Battle Brigade with 134 Spider main battle mecha, 12 Fly rocket mecha, 8 Scorpion flame sprayer mecha, 16 B air defense mecha, 24 Flying Locust transport mecha, alongside corresponding infantry and support vehicles. The 3rd Cavalry Division, consisting of 4 Heavy Brigade combat teams and 1 Aviation Brigade. The 17th Infantry Division, comprising 2 Heavy Brigade combat teams, 2 Light Infantry Brigades, and 1 Aviation Brigade. The 38th Mountain Division, which includes 4 Light Infantry Brigades and 1 Aviation Brigade. Additionally, there are the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, 130th Heavy Infantry Brigade, 18th Field Artillery Brigade, the 504th Parachute Regiment, and 3 companies of the Steel Camp with nearly 100 genetic warriors. The total number of multiple units reached around 50,000. This formidable force, combined with the air superiority of the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, has already formed a terrifying steel torrent sweeping across the battlefield. As opponents, Yutai country has mobilized over 500,000 troops. Apart from less than 100,000 regular troops, the rest are reserves, some militia, and conscripted able-bodied men. Purely based on numbers, the Yutai country military is 10 times the size of the Jeka Group soldiers. However, countries worldwide are not optimistic about Yutai country's chances of victory, as modern warfare is far beyond merely relying on numbers for triumph. The once Gulf War already taught the world this truth, having 1.2 million soldiers, 77 divisions, with 5,600 tanks, 7,500 armored vehicles, 3,800 artillery pieces, 770 combat aircraft, the E-Army, claiming to be the world's 4th strongest power, was subjected to a dimensional reduction strike by the beautiful country, beaten by high-tech warfare within just a few months. Now, the Jeka Group, mastering main battle mecha, Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bomber, Genetic Warriors, poses no less a high-tech dimensional strike to the Yutai country military. The Jeka Group's objective is equally explicit, directly targeting the critical point of Yutai country, aiming for Yelu City. This 3,000-year-old city is one of the world's oldest, a religious holy land for the Yutai people, known as a holy city for many religions. Within this city, the western part of the Yutai people's crucial prayer temple remains undestroyed, exposed with its surrounding wall called the Wailing Wall. The ancient city has been rebuilt, now thriving as a Yutai community. Yelu City is now home to over 1 million residents, jointly governed by Yutai country and Ba country, with most of the population being Yutai, the rest comprised of other ethnic groups. As Yutai country grew increasingly powerful in the New World, more and more Yutai occupied the city, pushing and expelling other races. For the Yutai people, life here is flourishing, with numerous schools, Yutai churches, and arts and learning centers established, seeking to completely dominate, transforming this holy city into a representation of the Yutai people. But for other ethnicities and religions, it's an unequivocal tragedy. The first target of the Jeka Group's assault was Yelu City, aiming to occupy this holy city in the minds of the Yutai people, destroy their beliefs, and trample their religion underfoot. As for whether this would incur universal condemnation and offend those religions, the Jeka Group simply didn't care. If your gods dare descend, how many divisions could they muster? The territory of Yutai country isn't large, and naturally Teiwei City is also very close to Yelu City. For the 1st Mechanized Battle Brigade, it's almost a smooth path. It won't take long to reach the outskirts of Yelu City. Faster than the Mechanized Battle Brigade is the attack by the Air Force. Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers and 72 Magic Bird Fighters soared in the sky, flying over Yelu City. Yutai country places great emphasis on its holy land in its heart. They also speculate that Jeka Group's target is likely here, to protect their holy city, plus Yelu City is located at the crucial point of Yutai country. With a narrow and long territory resembling a slanted dog bone, Teiwei City and Yelu City are located on the central line of this territory. Now Teiwei City has fallen. If Yelu City is also strategically occupied, Yutai country will be split in two by the Jeka Group, bisected in the middle. Therefore, to protect the city, a full 200,000 Yutai soldiers spread through Yelu City and its surrounding areas, expanding a huge defensive surface, vowing to protect this holy city to the death. But they underestimated the Jeka Group's resolve in war and their overwhelming combat power. The Magic Bird Fighters arrived first, attacking the exposed air defense and artillery positions, inflicted damage on the enemy's fire points. These Magic Bird Fighters, with their excellent performance and maneuverability, were first to open the entry passage for the Luanyang Airspace Strategic Bombers, simultaneously attracting the activation of U-Tai country's air defense radar, exposing the air defense missile positions. When these radars and missile positions were exposed, what awaited them was pinpoint bombardment and clearing by airborne cruise missiles. The JECA group possesses Kunping rockets, the sky is filled with satellites, and reconnaissance spy satellites have now all altered their orbits, hovering over U-Tai country. Adding JECA group's unique biological radar, giving them great reconnaissance advantage, many air defense missile systems worth millions of US dollars didn't even manage to launch a single missile before being destroyed by cruise missiles, becoming a pile of scrap metal. After the Magic Bird fighters created a favorable environment for bombing, Luanyang airspace fighters followed closely, opening their fuselage. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. A rain of air bombs rolled out from their fuselage, plummeting towards the defense positions of the U-Tai army below. Each of the 24 Luanyang airspace fighters was fitted with 500 to 600 tons of bombs, totaling tens of thousands of tons of explosives. As they now dropped onto the U-Tai army's positions, the destructive power was imaginable. Each U-Tai soldier gaped, listening to waves of aircraft engine roars and shrill air raid sirens suddenly blaring, sharp, urgent, causing hearts to tighten with a start. Soon many U-Tai soldiers witnessed an unforgettable and the last terrifying scene they would ever see. The enemy's aircraft in the sky swarmed in like locusts, dropping strings of deadly seeds. One heavy air bomb after another smashed into the earth, covering every inch of land, bringing death and smoke to this land. Boom! 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 Explosions erupted one after another, forming continuous patches, like invisible hands pushing bunkers, trenches, and soldiers into hell. Thick smoke billowed, fires blazed skyward, dust flew, screams, cries, and wails intertwined, creating a symphony of apocalypse. Fear was written all over every U-Tai soldier's face and eyes, hearing the air bomb explosions like Raytheon in wrath. Every blast signified the instant descent of death and destruction. With over 10,000 tons of bombs dropping, for the 200,000 U-Tai soldiers, on average, every 20 people would face a 1-ton air bomb. Even with U-Tai country's construction of defensive fortifications and numerous trenches, under the weight of heavy air bombs, these simple constructions were entirely ineffective. U-Tai soldiers, under air bomb blasts, flew away like broken dolls, disassembled into shattered flesh on the ground. Some tanks and armored vehicles also, under air bomb blasts, were ripped and flipped like paper, unable to withstand the fiery sweep of heavy air bombs. Even those hiding in trenches, lying on the ground trembling. If they were close to the blast, they'd stay motionless after the explosion. Although their body surface appeared intact, upon closer inspection, it would be found they'd already lost their life signs. Their internal organs along with their brain and central nervous system totally damaged, shocking them to death alive. From a high vantage looking down, the U-Tai army's defense positions erupted continuously, more lively than setting off firecrackers during New Year. Yet this liveliness meant one word for the U-Tai soldiers stationed here: death.